The most iconic backdrops in the world. No picture perfect setting better than Sydney Harbour. Jimmy Wisbowski, this is as good as it gets today.
Yeah, this is going to be absolutely champagne sailing. The sailors must be so stoked to have these conditions for the Saturday racing. I absolutely cannot wait to see what these guys can produce.
Oh, you and me both. Look at that shot of Sydney Harbour. It's a perfect day. The sun is shimmering overhead and these boats are tuned up and ready to go screaming around the race course that we have in play, Jimmy. You couldn't have scripted a more perfect start to this race here for the Express SuperFoiler Grand Final on Sydney Harbour.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just like the brochure looks, and it's so perfect out there. We got the 6 teams doing their warm-up laps, going through their routines, checking the course and getting everything dialed in before racing.
There was a lot of discussion yesterday amongst the crews. They pretty much acknowledged that this was where the game started for them. Saturday is a key day ahead of Sunday, which is double points in their quest for the first ever Ben Lexcen Trophy. Jimmy, do you expect to see more risks being taken today?
Yeah, look, I do. There's a few teams that have absolutely nothing to lose out there, so they're going to be pushing it to the absolute limit. We've seen these boats be sort of fragile at times and very delicate, and teams have had to, manage the gear and make sure that they get the boat through to the end of the regatta. But now, this is it. This is the grand final, so why not just absolutely send it and see what happens?
Exactly. Grand final weekend. This is, I guess, one of the premiership contenders. Tech 2, Luke Parkinson, is a serious heavy hitter of this circuit. He said, I'm an athlete, I'm here to win it, and he's not mucking around. A former athlete is our own Jack McCartney, and well, he probably considers himself to still be an athlete. Jack, fill me in on that.
On the course? I'm an athlete at times, Nick. Thanks very much. Sailed the 18s out here for many a year. This is my backyard, if you like, and she is absolutely sparkling today, Nick. We've got 15 to 18 knots. It is absolutely glamorous conditions for the Superfoilers today.
It is a glamour day, and how many laps are we looking at here, Jack?
We're looking at 3 laps for the first race. So we're about just under a mile long, top to bottom, 3 laps through the start-finish gate.
And we can see Tech 2 buzz the tower behind you there. They clocked 37 knots earlier this week. Can we expect to see some seriously smoking speeds out there today?
Yes, you can. I think we're going to see 15 to 18 knots, and in that sort of wind strength, you can see the boats comfortably rolling up to 35 knots downwind. No problems at all. And I was talking to Luke Parkinson after that, and he said he still had the handbrake on. So today is a little bit more challenging because you've got a few more waves, spectator craft, things like that. So that may limit the top speed a little bit. They may nurse the boats around the track slightly more than in the flatter water conditions. But certainly they'll be well over 30 knots for a lot of the day.
And what are the wider conditions more generally there, Jack? What are we expecting?
The wider conditions on the water, I think it's a building sea breeze. We've got quite a few spectator craft starting to lurk on the boundary, which is fantastic. Sorry, just a few bumps here. We will have 15 to 18 knots, maybe a touch more at the end of the day for the last race. But 26 degrees, it is just magic out here on Sydney Harbour.
It sounds magic. And a northeaster, is that just what we'd be licking our lips for here, Jack?
Yeah, northeast is the trade wind here, or the sea breeze, if you like. So this is a typical Sydney Harbour special day.
No doubt about that. Thanks very much, Jack. Enjoy yourself out there. The front row to the action there. He's in pit lane. It's the best seat in the house as we see the record point, Jimmy, the boat you were destined to head out there before injury struck.
Yeah, look, Phil's absolutely frothing today. It is such good conditions, and he's got up the front there on the bow Neil Hunter, and he's got Sam Phillips in the middle from Melbourne Boy there. So these guys are going to be, as I said, absolutely letting it rip today. That we could see some crash and burn sailing, and Phil likes a little bit of crash and burn sailing, so we'll see who's the last team standing at the end of the day. Getting a look at Team ID Intranet. They had a good day yesterday. Something perhaps with the return of Ed Powys. He's back on deck for those guys. Yeah, look, Ed's a massive inclusion for these guys. He's so crucial on the front of the boat. He's got that America's Cup experience, the 49 experience, and look, they're a solid team, these guys, and they're a couple points behind going into today, but that's not going to faze them at all. Interesting to hear Fang Warren there, the main sheet hand say now they're officially the best looking team again now that Ed's back, and I'm sure Team Euroflex would have something to say about that in terms of credentials. None better than them. Glenn Ashby, we can see there, an America's Cup champion, Nathan Outteridge, America's Cup steerer, and of course an Olympian of note, an Olympic gold and silver medalist, and Harry's in there as well, Harry Miguel. Absolutely. So we've got Harry filling in for the Euroflex today, and he's an absolutely amazing sailor in his own right, and he's going to slot right in the front of the boat there without a problem. So the Euroflex guys They're going to have no dramas in their racing, so they're going to be letting it rip too.
And these are the points from our first day of competition here on Sydney Harbour. Euroflex, Pavement and Tech 2. They had mixed days, as you can see there. Euroflex had 2 wins and a last place finish, so a little shaky. They haven't yet ironed out all the kinks, but Pavement and Tech 2 certainly capitalised on that. But ID, they're really still in stalking distance, but we can't rule out record point or clean mate, Jimmy.
No, absolutely not. You know, it was a really tough day on the harbour yesterday, really light winds, and they're going to be so stoked to see this now. And it's really classic of Euroflex, those results. They're always just first to last.
It is a bit of that, isn't it? And it's all in the race for the series crown. It's going to be presented here at the Express SuperFoiler Grand Final, and it's all about the race to the top. And we can see Euroflex, they were sitting pretty with 3 Regatta wins early on, but they had a last place finish in Busselton, which has opened the door for Tech 2. They're just 2 points behind, with Pavement a single point behind them. So a lot's been made of the top 3 and their credentials, but mathematically speaking, Jimmy, record point and ID can still win it, and clean mate, they can finish on the podium. So it's Hollywood script writing stuff here.
Yeah, absolutely. Everyone's going to be dying to get on the podium at the end of this series. It's been such a good tour of Australia that they've all been on, and you know, there's a few boats that are just battling it out for that top spot as well, as you said. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they go. You know, the momentum is with Tech 2 and Luke Parkinson. They're the winners from Busselton, our last event. So look, they've got the edge at the moment. They're the, you know, only as good as your last race, as they say.
Absolutely, and I'm sure that Luke Parkinson will be looking to get Tech 2 dialed up. We've already spoken about the seriously mind-blowing speeds that they were crunching along Sydney Harbour, and I think it would be fair to say Luke Parkinson could probably squirt out a little more.
If you want to start at the pit, and there's a massive ferry there.
Some concern about the spectator craft there from Luke Parkinson, so it's jam-packed out there, Jim.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, this is the standard in yachting now. You know, you have to deal with spectator boats. You have to deal with all these outside influences, and for some skippers and some teams, that's really going to annoy them and get to them and get in the way of racing. And for some skippers, you know, that's just standard. That's how it is now, and we're going to deal with it. Same for everyone. So it's going to be who can switch their mindset and just make the most of any challenge that's out there. No matter how big the waves are from the ferries or the spectator boats, you know, we're going to use that to our advantage.
And I know that for the ID boys, Paul Campbell, James, Ed Powis and Fang Warren, they actually went out last night to celebrate Ed's birthday. So I imagine they'd be feeling a tiny little bit ginger this morning.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that one will go for them today, but I'm sure they're absolutely fighting fit today. They'll be absolute professionals of their sport and some of the absolute best sailors in the world without a doubt. So it's going to be great to see how they shape up today.
We can hear Team Cleanmates so unanimous with laughter that Superfoiler, Olivia Price, Josh McKnight and Harry Morton there, and they've actually got a special guest on board today. It's a bit of a mascot has been stowed away on board there, so hopefully that extra weight that Zach, one of the boat builders, has put on there won't slow them down too much. It's a home regatta for these guys on Cleanmate.
Yeah, it could be their lucky charm, and it's definitely the home waters of Olivia Price and Josh McKnight. They've grown up on the harbour since day one, and this is their stomping ground. I'm sure they can use that to their advantage. There's a lot of local knowledge on Sydney Harbour. Any sailor from Sydney Harbour will tell you no one knows it like they do. So it's going to be interesting to see what they can pull out of the bag.
Yeah, I'm expecting big things from them.
When you think we're there, we should tap, I reckon.
Yeah.
And here you can see all the boats just going up and down the line, assessing the conditions, deciding do we want to come off at the boat end or down at the pin buoy end. It's going to be really crucial how you exit this line and how that's going to set you up to the first beat.
Attacking here. Big trim in. Ready to speed. My GoPro on. Ready for speed.
And Luke Parkinson, ever the professional, making sure the tools are working before he gets to work here.
Pretty good here. Coming up. High mode. Jib in.
You can see Phil Robertson on record point. He's going to battle for that pin end, and CJ on ID, he's looking for the boat end, so big gap between the boats and the line. There's going to be a lot of space to move.
Got a big split here, Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm just trying to start forward all the time.
Slow. Slowing up.
And here you go. So there's the white start boat in the middle of your screen, and the pin end up the top of the screen.
Go, boys, go. Go. 30 metres. 10. 9. Ease. Go.
Okay, here we go.
5. Go, trim.
3, 2,
1, start, clear start.
All the way there, Jimmy, and it looks like Pavement's making some early pay dirt, but it's Record Point who's got the leap there with Tech 2, no surprises, slicing through 2.
Yeah, Phil Robertson's had an absolute glamour start there, taking off from the pin, and he's got room to put his bow down and let it rip.
And look at the speed these Superfoilers are already putting out here. They are leaving every other sailing boat in their dust right now.
This is amazing stuff. Phil Robertson off to a really good start. Euroflex getting absolutely gassed from their position on the line. They can't tack out. They're really, really stuck at the moment down there with Clean Made.
And you said that Record Point had nothing to lose, and that's their mantra. They're absolutely gunning it from the start here in Sydney.
Nice
and
work
Tech
Tell me
2's,
when he puts his bow to go below me, okay?
that's
Don't
Phil
want him going
Robertson
below me.
asking for some comms there on Record Point.
So what you see is Luke Parkinson on Tech 2 trying to foil. He's trying to get the boat up in the sky. And Phil's saying, no, let's not foil. Keep it in the water. We're going to sail high groove and pinch him off. And that's why you see Phil coming up to his line, opening up his ability to tack.
Well, Nathan Outteridge said he wanted to shadow the Tech 2 boys today. He wanted to keep a close eye on him, but already his hand's been forced here.
Here we go, building speed again.
You Nate, they're building speed here, so he's got a big job to do. He's split out from the fleet. Tech 2's tacking off there through the middle of the fleet, and they should cross ID and Pavement. This could be close.
And look at all this, the boats on the course here at the moment. It makes for some seriously difficult racing. You've got to pick the line and then avoid the moving obstacles. And ID are literally going to bounce over the wake there. There's no real estate out here. No wonder the prices of Sydney are so high. Seems pretty quiet on our series front runner there, Jimmy.
Yeah, look, you know, these guys are so well tuned and they don't need to say too much. They don't need to call the breeze. They just all know exactly what's happening. They're on the same page.
So we can see Record Pointer in the lead, Tech 2 in second, Euroflex there in 13 at the moment, tuning out about 15 knots of boat speed, Pavement in fourth, Clean Made fifth, with ID in sixth position at the moment. So Record Point really making some hay at the moment with 17 knots out the front.
This is absolutely unbelievable racing. It's so many boats on the harbour and they've got to navigate their way through it. This is the challenges we were talking about. It's the same for everyone. You need to make the most of it.
So far, it's Tech 2, and I'd have to say Record Point, who we can see absolutely screaming down here at the moment, making the most of the conditions, and she's absolutely purring there at the moment.
Yeah, the most important part of any race is the first 30 seconds. That's where you set yourself up. That's where you find the clear air, and you can see Record Point absolutely smoking, staying their own groove. Phil's doing an amazing job, just flying that middle hull above the water. Not too high, not too low.
Perfect control, and it isn't easy in this sea state. There is a lot of chop and wash around. Phil Robertson's got the windows down and he's got the elbows out. He's loving it.
A little longer, Will, a little longer.
Pull it on the side.
He's doing an absolutely amazing job with that boat there. Just flying the boat with his right hand. He's got his fingers on the buttons, moving the foils forward and back to fly the boat higher and lower.
Jack, a blistering start, wasn't it, mate?
Absolutely blistering start, Nick. It looked like the left paid more than the right there, so Euroflex was forced out to the right, being pinched out by, I think, Tech 2. And from my eyes, it looks like Record Point and Tech 2 are going to lead round the top mark, and they're choosing the left gate first. So they're going to fly out towards Taylor Bay into a jibe and come into the start-finish gate. But very, very even racing so far.
Well, you're spot on there, Jack. Record Point turn, 3 minutes 43. Tech 2 just 3 seconds behind them. They did just have a little plant there, Jimmy. That might cost them.
Yeah, look, any deceleration when the boat hits the water like that is going to be massive. Someone's doing over 30 knots and suddenly you're doing 10. You know, the meters really stack up. And Phil just absolutely lit here, sending it down the harbour. He's just trying to keep that middle hull skimming. If he gets too high, he can crash and burn. And if he gets too low, those meters are just going to get eaten up.
As we see disappearing behind the Sydney ferry, this is Tech 2 lighting it up now. These boys are fast.
I know Luke Parkinson, if I know one thing, he's going to put the foot down and he's going to absolutely send it. He's going to taste blood. Here they go for a jibe.
Yep. Settling. 2. Stand by join. 2. 1. Driving.
Unbelievable work there from Tech 2, almost pulling off a full foiling jibe there. And Cleanmate just having some difficulties here.
Bow down, bow down.
Oh, they are looking very wet there. They must have almost put that in. They have somehow saved it, but it is going to be wetter than a washing machine right now. Jack, what went wrong for Cleanmate?
Nick, they came very, very close to a capsize. They nosedived and they managed to save it. It was a brilliant save, so they must have their heart in their mouth at the moment, but back up and running now, and I can hear Liv. She sounds good.
Okay, sorry about that, boys.
She's already apologising there for that one. It must have been a hairy moment.
Yeah, there's going to be heaps on at the top, Mark, trying to rip these boats away. You cannot underestimate how hard these boats are to sail.
Wait out, going above. Wait in, Will. A little more lift, please, Will. Need lift. Wait out, mate.
Luke Parkinson just talking to Will
got
Phillips. He's bound.
Stand by. Stand by, Jibe. Yep. After the cooter boat. Wait out. It's all right.
Stay with it, Pogo.
Yeah, copy that. Stand by. Stand by, Jibe.
Yes.
3, 2, 1. Jibing.
My oh my, this is a hot run, Jimmy. They've just really put the pedal down there.
Yeah, this is unbelievable sailing by Tech 2. Almost pulling off that full foiling jibe. You can hear them talking about trying to navigate around the boats in the harbour. They're trying to call the gusts, the lulls, and also all these unpredictable boats.
But look at this, record points, the true story at the moment. She's got a 140-metre lead over Tech 2. This is a gutsy run from Phil.
Yeah, Phil has pinned his ears back here and he is off. He is not looking back. He is just going to keep on sending it down the harbour to the bottom gate.
All boarding here?
So interesting to see here. All the foils are down. That's going to get them a slightly lower mode, slightly more controlled
Going above
mode.
him. Ease for me. Ease main. Ease it. Traveller voice. Okay, trimming here. Yeah. Speed build. Okay, ready? 3. Yep. 1. Going above.
Just going to lane.
These boats have so much on. Neil Hunter leaning and trying to trim the
Okay,
foil.
really want to try settle it down here, boys.
He's calling for twists and he wants to settle down. Needs to get under control.
Okay, feels better there now. Clean. Yeah, another 10. Yeah. Stand by. 2.
It's such a knife edge for those guys on record point. It looked like a bucking bronco there, Jimmy. You've got to strap yourself in, feel the G's, and sometimes just calm it down as we see Tech 2 is really closing the gap here.
And Phil stuffed the leeward bow and Tech 2's going to be straight over the top.
Wait in, Sam. Will. Wait in, Aiden. Trim on.
This is a super important moment in our series at the moment.
Turn.
Tech 2, they're in second position and they're putting serious gap into Euroflex, the series front runner at the moment. These are the moments that define championships and define champions.
Yeah, Luke Parkinson sailing absolutely out of his skin here. He's taken the lead off Phil, and Phil's going to split to that right-hand gate. So Phil's actually heading in the preferred direction as we saw from the first beat.
He's gone the other way.
And Aiden Menzies relaying info there, just letting him know that Phil Robertson and the boys on record point have also split as Luke Parkinson lines up the VIP spectator boat there.
Yep.
Here's Euroflex just battling their way through all these boats in the harbour. Nathan Adams is just going to have to pull something out here. His back's against the wall at the moment.
No doubt about that. We've just seen them screaming down there, 20 knots there as they turn the second gate in third position at the moment. 45 seconds almost adrift of Tech 2. Remember just how close it is between Tech 2 and Euroflex. Jack?
So, Nick, we've got a nice split here. Record points heading out to the left-hand side of the track. Tech 2 gone out to the right side, so it's going to be very interesting to see who pays the best.
Jack, you were saying initially that you thought the side record points gone is the better side. Is that still the case, or is it up in the air?
Well, that was going to be my point, Nick. I think the left paid the first time up, so it'll be very interesting to see which is best this time round. Notably, Euroflex has chosen the right side as well, as pavement flies by me right now.
Great update there from Jack on the water. It's so important to get those calls right. It can be the difference between first and last, and in a battle between first and seconds, you want to make sure you've rolled the dice the right way, Jimmy.
Absolutely, and you can see Phil's taking the first hit here. He's out in front now. You can see him there just jacking the boat up. Now Luke Parkinson's foiling too. absolutely unbelievable shots here we're seeing.
Yeah, 3-point foiling there. They've got the starboard board up there and absolutely screaming, going for pace, pace, pace.
That's it, that's part of the game. We got hold. A little longer, Will. Okay, stand by. Yeah, 2, 1, go board.
So on their way back to the top mark, they've got to go through the middle gate, that start-finish line. And we're going to see another close cross here between Record Point and Tech 2.
Really nice tack, guys.
These boats are so difficult when they're not foiling. Everything's in sync and in balance once they're up, but it's so difficult to get going.
This is going to be one heck of a cross, Jimmy. Look at this. This is super close. Oh, whoa, look at that. And that's going to make Luke Parkinson's job pretty tricky. He's got to go over Phil's wake.
Yeah, perfect work there by Phil. He knew it was going to be close, and he just had to put the foot down and get it on the foils.
And it's a great little dogfight here between Tech 2 and Record Point, but I'd imagine Euroflex isn't giving chase. What about this, though? Our fourth place boat is actually Cleanmate, who nearly had a capsize. At the moment, they're in fourth, and Pavement is trailing them. A great recovery from Olivia Price. Beautiful racing from the London Olympic silver medalist.
Absolutely. Olivia must have brought a few of those local cards with her. She's got a few tricks in the bag, and she's up to fourth doing an awesome job.
We see all of the obstacles on the water here, including floating lighthouses there too, Jimmy.
Yeah, look, it's all happening on the harbour. It looks so busy from where we're sitting. I can't imagine how hard it would be on the water to navigate all these obstacles.
So turning in 3, 2, 1 and turning.
This is Steve Thomas, the Sydney to Hobart winner, racing alongside Reese Mara and Dan Morris for the first time since they had a nasty capsize in Bustleton. They got it together on the opening day. Expect them to come back quick here.
Yeah, really nice rounding there from those guys. They seem to be sailing really well, but the fact that they're so far behind tells me that they've had either a big crash downwind or some issues downwind. So interesting to see if they can reel the guys back in now.
And Jack was indicating he thought Record Point's selection of the side of the course was the right one. So far, it looks like that's the case. Tech 2 turned the gate with a margin of a couple of seconds. They now trail by about 50 metres.
Cleanmate's doing an awesome job. Josh McKnight, the Moth World Champion, in the middle. Harry Morton, the 49er crew, on the bow.
Good copy, set up.
Great board drop there from Big Haz. And one of the youngest crews in the series here, helmed by Olivia Price. She's doing a superb job at the moment to consider just where they were to where they are now.
Yeah, she's doing an unreal job. You know, foiling's quite new to her, and she'll be cutting laps of the harbour today and 2-3 times as fast as she's used to.
And the Wizard of Wanji's got some work to do here. Nathan Outeridge is stretching out here, trying to crawl in that 300 metre plus gap that he's got at the moment. And frustratingly for him, it's Tech 2, his great rival, that he's currently ahead, that he's trying to sniff in here.
Yeah, look, Nate's a master, and he does love a challenge, so you can see how nice a job he's doing here, just foiling the boat when he has to and just having it kissing when he doesn't. He doesn't want to spend too much depth, just foiling off the track. It's still super close between Record Point and Tech 2, only 68 metres in it, so it's so close, you know, 68 metres is just one tiny mistake in these boats.
I'm happy.
Olivia Price saying she was happy, and why wouldn't she be? She's sailing like a Supremo at the moment out there on the foils.
Yeah, and then just jibing.
Gosh, it looks pretty hairy out there, Jimmy, at the moment.
Yeah, I think the camera boat's struggling to keep up here. Nate's just calling attack, and Phil Robertson on Record Point is just going to blow the doors off his top mark and absolutely send it back downwind.
A great moment for them, and Neil Hunter's back on board. He spent some time over in Oman for the for the Extreme Series, and he's back doing what he does best. The first man out there and putting all his considerable Scottish frame to good use there, Jim.
Absolutely, he's so graceful through the boat for a big guy. It's very hard to find in sailing.
Let's go.
Quite funny, Sam Phillips was also saying these boys are in their honeymoon period at the moment. They haven't sailed together too long. Everything is working nicely for them. No big major domestics at this stage, and that harmony is translating to pure boat speed.
Absolutely, and a classic covering move there from Phil, rounding the opposite gate to Tech 2, immediately jibing to get back in sync. What he's trying to do is stay between Tech 2 and the bottom gate.
So he's got his eye out astern, does he? Copying what Tech 2 is, trying to shadow their move, anticipate their next one.
Absolutely. He'll be copying each of Tech 2's move to make sure that Tech 2 has to follow him down the course.
He's executed this supremely well so far. Wants a ley line, a clean one here.
A little bit here.
You can see Phil there starting down with 3 boards, so he's in that fast mode, not holding back at all.
I guess he has to. He's got Tech 2 breathing down his neck.
When it gets flat.
Yeah, there's nothing in it. Euroflex has really closed the gap here, so they're definitely taking meters away and they've got some speed.
That's it. Stay with it. Go away.
On 4 falls there, looking for a... And that's Neil Hunter getting vocal, Jim.
Yeah, and record point once again going for that 3-point foiling. Got some big ferry wake to chop through there, but Phil's just going to jack it up and get it on the foils, and he'll be off to the bottom mark.
That's got to be a frustrating moment for them. They've got such good race pace, but look how quickly they are back to it.
I don't know if we'll make it, but keep an eye on it. Yeah, ease a little, just a heinous. All good. Going behind that kite, okay, that spinnaker.
Epic shots here. Phil Robinson doing over 30 knots downwind. 3 foils, absolutely sending it through all the ferry wake, all the chop of the harbour, dodging boats, sailing through the gusts and wiles.
Yeah, and we're going for a jive. Go board.
This is amazing stuff from Phil Robinson.
2. Alright, here we go. Boards up! Boards up! Boards up! Leave this board. Go, boy.
Gee, there was some height there, Jimmy. I'm really surprised to see them recover that so quickly.
Okay, bow's coming up.
Massive problem there. So the board that they've drived onto is fired up. The rope slipped out of the cleat, and that's going to cost at least 100 metres, I'd imagine. That could be Tech 2 through, but we'll have to see how close it is at the bottom gate.
Well, it's not just Tech 2 that have now got a massive look at the piece of the puzzle. It's Euroflex as well. They're now eyeballing Tech 2. It's a great rivalry between these two machines.
This is our angle yet.
And so quickly, the gates can close.
There you see Glennie Ashby putting us back into it, doing a big trim on that main sheet. And Nate just sailing straight through the lure to Tech 2, so there we go. Euroflex into second.
I'm not sure if we lay in.
Wow, that was a powerful leg from Nathan Outeridge. Yeah, that was superb stuff. They were behind, and now they're really putting Euroflex is putting some pain on Tech 2.
We're going way past this red mark. Past red mark? Yeah, that's the lay way down there.
Big ventilation there on the foils, just crashing down. Not ideal before you go for a jibe.
Stay with it.
Harry Mile on that board drop, and they're going to have to sprint through the boat here. Again, going out to that left-hand side, so they see their favour out on that side. Maybe
Fuck Neil, you've got to land those, brother.
And the tension's filtering through on record point as well. Clearly means a lot to the Kiwi World Match Racing Champion.
Here we go, boys. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Sorry.
So here we go. Phil Robinson, he's the first at the bottom gate. He's still in the lead. You see Euroflex in the middle of your screen there. They're still coming down. We have one more job to do.
They're not laying.
Here for Nathan, they're not laying. He's just not going to make it to this bottom gate.
Go board.
Great board drop there from Harry Mile. Filling in this week for Ian Jensen, a man who is basically Nathan Outeridge's shadow. They communicate so well, and Harry's doing well here.
And you saw there Ben Ashby just smoking through the boat here. He's going a bit faster than usual, knows he's got some work to do. And Tech 2 slipped back into second, so Euroflex. Nasty bottom Malco ending here, having to do too many manoeuvres.
I should have thrown a double job there.
And they're going to have to split here, aren't they, Jim? They don't have any other choice.
Yeah, they're going to have to split here, and you can hear Nathan there just apologising for this situation at the bottom mark. Too many manoeuvres, too slow.
Well, they made up serious ground last time around. They've now got 11 seconds to trail Tech 2 by, so not much in it there. Record point with a much nicer cushion 45 seconds plus there for them at the front. So record point first. This machine, Tech 2 in second, and Euroflex only just in third.
Pretty loose.
Eyeing off second.
Here there, Luke Parkinson saying it's pretty loose, and if Luke's saying that, you know it's pretty loose.
There, eh? Can I lay the boat now? Yeah, stand by. Going fast. Okay, go board. Okay, stand by, Will. Anytime, brother. 2, 1. Ease me. 2, 1. Turning.
Such clear communication from these skippers to their crew.
It's not just that it's calm there, you notice, on Tech 2. It's almost cool too, isn't it? It's like listening to a Sunday chill-out album there. Luke Parkinson's very relaxed.
Absolutely. If one person on the boat starts to get all amped up and have a bit of fever in their voice, then everyone seems to go with it. So it's very crucial that you keep the tone nice and relaxed. You need to make clear decisions here.
Nice, boys.
Nathan Outteridge also really relaxed, not getting antsy in his pantsy, just keeping it together. He knows they're in third, and Tech 2's in their sights at the moment. But perhaps not for long, Jimmy, if they're climbing speed like this. They're on a speed run here.
Absolutely. So we've got Tech 2 and Euroflex coming together here. Euroflex just in the left of your screen, so Tech 2 is on starboard. They have rights. Euroflex have to give way.
Yeah. Faster, Aiden. Yeah, copy.
We've got 3 on the wire, and they want to be faster. Loving that.
Here's Nathan just missing the back of their boat.
Yeah.
Tech 2's going to cover.
1, tacking.
Classic match racing manoeuvre there, Jimmy. Really interesting, but Tech 2's going to have to stick this tack if they want to make this option work. It looks like Euroflex is through underneath. Bad call there by Luke Parkinson. What a great moment in the championship, though. These two are gunning for glory overall. They want to finish, you know, they want to make sure Euroflex finishes on top of Tech 2. Tech 2 wants to make sure that they're always on top of Euroflex. This is so important in the overall calculations for the Express SuperFoiler Grand Final. Absolutely. Of these two teams, who's going to win the series? It's who beats who. So that's how close it is. And that middle gate there that both teams had to go through is just bringing the boats together on the course.
1, here we go.
As CJ just splits the middle on his way downwind.
Eyes out! 2, go board! Go board!
You alright, Glennie?
What's that?
Last one forming on port, arrows back.
Phil Robson, a record point. Really holding his own here. It's a 200-metre lead.
Stand up, I think.
Yeah, it's a great run from record point, but Tech 2 and Euroflex are giving each other a millimetre.
2, 1.
Jack, this is an absolute masterclass from Tech 2 and Euroflex. Who looks like they're going to blink first?
Oh, very tight battle between those two, Nick, but you know who's doing the best? Record point. They keep banging the left side and they keep getting further away. Doing a fantastic job, the record team. And I noticed with the ID ship being so far back, they've been having some ventilation issues with one of their boards. I think they may have done some bad fairing this morning, and so they're struggling with touching down quite often, and that's why they're hanging back a fair way. But great battle at the front of the fleet.
Thank you, Jack. Euroflex here, really on 3 foils.
Tech 2's got a big puffer.
And keeping a close eye on Tech 2 there, Nathan Outteridge. You could hear him say he was monitoring the puff of Tech 2.
Yeah, so up the top of the course it opens up a little and you can see that there's a few less boats. They can start to really read the wind, whereas down the bottom of the track there's got to be hundreds of boats congregating down there. Much more chop and just much more sort of dirty air coming off those boats. So Phil can now get a clear picture. We're seeing what he's seeing, and you can see the puffs and lulls.
In terms of the regatta leader at the moment, it's looking like Euroflex will be able to, if they can hold on, will take that honour, but record point's going to seriously soar up there at the moment if they can hold on to this.
Absolutely. Phil keeps saying the way he is, then absolutely anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree. How far here, mate? Okay, work on trim with me.
Phil's just doing such a good job of just keeping that middle hull kissing, foiling sometimes, not in others. The perfect mix between height and speed.
Yeah, very European, lots of kisses, but all of them very delicate there.
Absolutely.
Okay, bow's coming down. Might cook this a little. Sorry.
And you can see in the top of your screen how close Tech 2 and Euroflex are. Phil Robertson on record point, middle of the picture. He's got that top gate lined up.
They're so close to each other. I wonder if they're exchanging pleasantries. We could see on the SuperFoiler app that there was a bit of banter going on between Tech2 and Euroflex. And I tell you what, there'll be even more after this race, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Nathan Outridge was the skipper of Artemis, and Luke Parkinson, skipper of Tech2, was sailing with him on that boat, so they know each other's game very well. They know each move they're going to make.
And this is record point. They'll be almost tasting success here. They're on the final leg at the moment. This will be a massive victory for them if they can take it. They can add it. Oh! And just like that, they've hit a marine speed bump there. That speedboat screaming through the stink boat, and it's got some pretty nasty wake there.
Not much you can do with those situations. Phil's done a good job just to punch the boat through that wall of water.
And we are on our final leg, Jimmy. They're going to be eyeing off that start-finish gate at the moment. That's going to be their line of glory. And it's going to certainly amp up the stakes between Tech2 and Euroflex here. Euroflex had the bragging rights yesterday over Tech2. And Nathan Outridge saying he's got major issues.
Here we go.
And he's a sitting duck, and we can see Tech2 roll over the top. They're celebrating 20 years of supporting veterans in the workforce, and they're celebrating at least a few minutes here of bragging rights over Euroflex.
Yeah, perfect move there by Tech2, and Nathan Outridge just having some issues there. Not sure what's gone wrong, but he's struggling to foil. He's going to have to sort it out quick. He's on the final leg.
I don't think we're going to be able to get it done. Let's just
It looks like the Dream Team's reacted quickly. Will it have been quick enough? We'll see. Tech2 on the final leg and screaming through here.
It's blowing about 18 knots of wind out at the top of the harbour now, and these boats will be doing over 30. No problem at all. Luke Parkinson and Tech2 probably doing 35 knots right now.
You know, he did 37 the other day on these very waters, so he'll be licking his lips at more of the same at the moment. If he can hold on, that's what matters.
And here you go, eating up the metres on record point. 110, 100, 90 metres. He's just absolutely flying into record point.
Jack at Tech2 going to catch the record point here.
Yeah, it's tightened right up here, Nick. So Tech2 came down screaming with 30 plus knots, and record point went too far left. So they've come in on a very tight lay, and they're just about to capsize.
Oh my goodness, Jack! Look at that. I'm sorry, Neil Hunter's holding on for dear life there. Disaster for record point.
Yeah, sorry.
Jack, what happened, mate? What happened? Talk us through it as we see Tech2 roll record point.
Yeah, I know you are.
They came through on too hot an angle.
Well, I can't see, brother.
And let's listen to Tech2.
Oh yeah, she loose.
Here we go.
I love this shit.
Course flag, we're finishing now.
Copy that.
Okay, sorry there.
Sending it.
My bad.
Oh yeah.
Dive here, okay?
Woo!
Yeah.
And that's Tech2.
Oh yeah.
To the finish.
Stand by foil drive for the boys. Go board. Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Driving.
And that's our winner. They've sizzled in Sydney. Tech2 putting it on for the boys and for the girls too.
That is absolutely epic racing from the lads there, doing such a good job.
And you've got to feel for record point here because Euroflex has taken second.
Fucking shit place to start these boats. Yes.
1 second in it between Euroflex and record point.
And Nathan Outridge is hot on board at the moment.
Okay, wait in.
As we see record point, they've crossed in third. They led the entire race.
She loose.
Bill Robinson's just tripped at the final hurdle there, stuffing the bows and pushing too hard. He knew that Luke Parkinson was coming at him, and Luke has just gone straight by, indicator on.
And you can hear the frustration.
I think it's bloody hard with the ferries, eh? Yeah. I think for me, I'll just tack over, we'll go board down. I think that was the race finish, but I'm not sure. I just had way too much braking, when I was trying to get it back under control.
Really is interesting. We're hearing lots of chat about the ferries and the wake and the boats on the course, making it so difficult This is one of the things that's going to be a feature of this race course, and they need to know that. They need to deal with it. Use it to your advantage. Just be better at it than the other guy.
Hey, upwind speed is on song, eh?
I remember you saying at the start of this very series, race 1 in Adelaide, Jimmy, the best sailor is the sailor having the most fun, and there's a lot of fun being had on Tech 2 at the moment. I thought those boys...
My heart's out here, but my balls are down there.
And I think what Luke's trying to say there is that was one hell of a ride.
Yeah, that run.
And we were riding on board with him for all of it. He is a cowboy, this guy, and he was just riding high then.
Yeah, Luke Parkinson has written the book on just lick it, stamp it, send it. That's exactly what he did, and it's paid off, absolutely.
Oh, that was so good, Jimmy. And he was just showboating at the end, wasn't it? He was saying, foiling job for the boys. He was loving every minute.
Yeah, such a good team dynamic on there with Aidan Menzies and Will Phillips on the boat today. You know, they really come together well as a team here. And, you know, time to stand up.
Well, Tech 2's just taken the lead in the Sydney Regatta here. It's worth double points. We know that. So that is a huge psychological blow, and we could almost hear there for Euroflex. They finished third. A few little concerns starting to creep in there.
Yeah, and you see their ID in the middle of your screen there. Just stuffing the bows down again. Jack mentioned that they've had some issues with ventilation downwind. What that means is that when the foil that the boat is flying on, it needs water to flow on both sides of the foil and stay attached. And if you have the wrong finish on that foil, if it's a rough surface or maybe some paint's chipped off, I'm not sure, but that can cause the flow to detach and then the boat just falls out of the sky with no warning. So extremely frustrating, very difficult to deal with. So it'll be interesting to see if maybe they can get a fix on that between races. They're going to have to do something if they want to step up to this final regatta.
And for Steve Thomas, Dan Morris and Reece Mara, this will be a crucial finish for them too, because they've been in close proximity to these guys for a very long time. Euroflex and Tech 2, they were level on them heading into today's racing. They'll want fourth. They'll want to finish ahead of ID Intranet and CleanMate to make sure they get the job done.
Yeah, and so there's a bit of confusion. They've shortened the course here on the sailors. So what happens is they notify the sailors with a flag on the course, and the sailors know that they're going straight from that mark to the finish. And I think now that Record Point has actually taken out second in that race. We're showing 26 seconds to both of them, and Record Point might have just snuck through there.
Well, that's going to be really interesting, Jimmy. We'll watch that really closely, and that could perhaps reflect more as to why he was so frustrated at the end there, the Euroflex skipper. Jack, have you got any more on that for us, the battle and I guess the race for second? Who's got it?
I'm not too sure who, on that battle, Nick, but here I've got Luke Parkinson, the winning skipper of the Tech 2 ship. That was one hell of a last run.
Yeah, mate, that was loose. You know, we just we identified it was a moment to risk, and we sent it. You know, we got the little sniff of jibe on Nathan, the Euroflex guys, and then we managed it quite well and managed to get our nose in front for the finish.
Survival conditions in a little bit, in a way, because there's so many bumps and people coming onto the course, so you read it well.
Mate, there's so many boats out here, it's unreal, and you know, we're going bloody quick. Our hearts are out here and the boys have amazing trust, so looking forward to the next one.
You've got Will Phillips on today. How did he stand in for Sam? Good job?
Mate, he's deep in the trenches, I can assure you, but thought he was going to fall overboard at one point, but he held on, strong monkey grip, so yeah, he reckons he's maybe got one more in him, so hopefully he hangs him for two.
It looked like a key play was going out the western shore there, and it looked like the record point went too far. Tell us about that.
Yeah, the bottom mark choice is massive if you can turn right, if you're looking downwind, and then you know, you do one less tack and set you up for a ripper run for a left turn at the top, but unfortunately we couldn't line that up. We had to keep going left at the bottom and doing a little bit tough, but I think our speed is there, and we're managing these really tricky conditions with all the traffic.
Thanks, Luke.
Yeah, thanks. I'll just calm down before the next one.
Oh, good luck with that, Jack. I don't think he'll be calming down at all. We've seen Pavement cross for fourth and ID cross for fifth. The monkey grip that Will needed there would be akin to the monkey grip that Luke Parkinson must feel he has on the Ben Lexcen Trophy at the moment. He's just taking a big stride and a big clasp of the trophy as we see our last boat screaming home at the moment. It's CleanMate, it's the local flavour, it's the people's boat. And look at them go, Jimmy. This is a speed run here.
Yeah, look, Olivia loves this sailing. She's absolutely sending it downwind, not afraid to push the boat. She's on home waters. She knows this place like the back of her hand. and they're just doing an amazing job there, getting the boat around the track.
And across the line too. Beautiful stuff from her.
Yeah, we needed.
Well, that was just a great race on so many levels. We had that moment where record points seemed like they had it in the bag, signed, sealed, delivered. Then we thought Euroflex had rolled Tech 2 for good, but all of a sudden, Tech 2 just got the job done.
Just going, are you happy with the board down here?
Absolutely. No, you make one little mistake at 35 knots, and that is just hundreds of metres. So those tiny little trips on the last hurdle, the last downwind, will get you every time. And you know, Luke Parkinson's seen his opportunity, and he just knew he had to give it all, and it's paid off.
And this is exactly how it's paid off in race 4 here in Sydney, Tech 2 with the biscuits. Record point in second there, so they did claim the honours ahead of Euroflex. Our series leader there with the tiny stumble. Pavement, so Pavement was in the top 3 all day yesterday virtually. They're in 4th with ID and Clean Maiden rounding it out. So that is race 4 here in Sydney, and not much between 1st and 6th. How's that going to impact the regatta points? Well, we can see 4 races in. It's Tech 2 with a narrow margin. They have a 2-point cushion over Euroflex at the moment, with Pavement just 3 points behind, 4 points off the lead overall, with ID and Record Point sitting pretty nice at the moment. And I know Clean Maid, I know Olivia Price will want more. She'll want more in front of her home family and friends, and you can almost guarantee she'll deliver it, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a few near capsizes in that race, so anything can happen. I guarantee this is on the edge sailing. These guys are doing everything possible to keep the pointy end up in the sky, and that is a big challenge at the moment.
And we can see there that the furthest distance sail there belonged to ID. Perhaps a problem with some equipment, do you think there, Jimmy?
Yeah, there must be some foil issues. We did see that one cavitation on the screen, and hopefully they can get that sorted before the next race.
Yeah, absolutely. Hope so. And I guess Tech 2, they sailed the least distance there, and they did it in the fastest time, and that's how you're going to do it. Although they don't quite have the honours for the average speed bragging rights, what about that? Zipping around at 17.4 knots on average around the course. That is mind-blowing.
That is absolutely unbelievable. 17.4 is an average. So impressive. And look at that. Phil Robertson, record point, 32.09 knots. That is moving. That is absolutely sending it.
That's incredible stuff, looking at all those speeds there. Record point absolutely cooking there. Jack, you've got the chef with you.
Nick, I've got Phil Robertson here, skipper of the Record Point. Mate, that was a bit of bad luck. It looked like you overcooked the ley line coming in the last time.
Yeah, we didn't overcook it. We actually just had a little bit on with the ferry there for a while. We sort of crossed in front of him and needed to drive back in front of him again and couldn't do it, and had to come up behind him, and we sort of got all chicken winged up and couldn't get it all set up and going again. So a little disappointing, but hey, second's still good, and we were thumping it before that.
Bit of a welcome to Sydney Harbour, eh, mate?
Oh, mate, it's horrid, I tell you. There's so many boats out, and it's just a constant battle to try and stay in front of the traffic. So yeah, we're battling out there and saying some choice words to a few boaties, but it's all good.
That's what Sydney Harbour's all about. Well done, Phil.
Nice one.
Thank you very much, Jack McCartney there. Phil Robertson, he's one of the all-time smilers on the Superfoiler circuit, isn't he, Jimmy? He's always got a smile on his face, and he's just a commander of a rocket ship today.
Yeah, look, he's a happy guy, and he's so good to race with such a level head. Really knows when to push and when to not. And you hear there, like, so difficult to sail these boats not on their perfect angle. As he said, he had to come up around a ferry, jibe and come up around it again, and these boats just don't like that. They want to go in one direction, and if you have to alter course to miss another boat or miss some waves or whatever it may be, they can bring you unstuck, and there you have it, resulting in losing that first place.
We're looking at ID Internet here. Paul Campbell-James is skipper entrant, and they have requested some more time, an extra 5 minutes, to address some equipment issues here. Not sure if that has been granted at this stage, Jimmy, but you were right. There was a bit of an issue with some of the kit there. They're trying to address that so that they can race at full steam, and they want to get this up and racing, not just for the series, but also so they can take some friends of the ID family out for a ride. And on Monday this week, actually, they're giving anyone a chance to go for a ride. So all you have to do is download the Superfoiler app, enter the competition, and you could be riding on the ID. I promise all the equipment will be fixed by then, Jimmy, and you'll be out and flying. And their request to the race officials has been granted. They'll have an extra 5 minutes to try and fix what they need to there, Jimmy.
Yeah, perfect. That's an unbelievable opportunity to go for a ride with Paul Campbell-James on the ID, and, you know, hopefully you can get this boat back up and running, because there's no time to lose.
And we saw, looking at the series leaderboard there, they're still in contention. And, of course, for the Sydney Regatta, very much still in play. So an exciting prospect to think what could happen if they are sailing at 100% here in the Express SuperFoiler Grand Final. So far, so good, Jimmy. Couldn't fault the first one, could you?
Look, that was the closest racing we have seen yet and the most exciting racing we have seen yet for sure. You know, Sydney Harbour's just flicked the switch, turned it on, and that battle between Record Point, Tech 2, Euroflex is absolutely nothing in it. Quite amazing to see.
Oh, absolutely superb. And just a moment to savour there for Luke Parkinson. It really was driving it home how much this series means to him when he was carrying on like that. It was just, he was loving it, wasn't he? Soaking it all in.
Absolutely. You know, everyone out there, professional sailors, and it's not too often that we get to perform in front of the home audience in Australia. So this is big bragging rights. You know, this is the home crowd, and it just means so much more to guys like Luke Parkinson and Nathan Outteridge to take out this event.
Well, he's really been building momentum as we see Ed Powys, the birthday boy there, scrambling through, having a chat most likely with Fang Warren, eager to get this issue addressed as soon as they can. They do have an extra 5 minutes, but that's not really that much at all, Jimmy.
No, hopefully it's just a quick issue. We saw CJ sort of down around that Traveller area. There might have been an issue with that system, but hopefully they seem to be sort of getting going now again. So, look, they're going to be a cat amongst the pigeons in this next race. You know, they weren't up the front there in that last one, and that's definitely not going to be the case now if their boat's working 100%.
And it's like you say, it's almost another excuse, another free pass for ID Intranet. You know what? Just absolutely go for it. Empty the chamber in the next one. And so what? Let's just see how it goes. And that could be exactly what you need to catch a few of the other superfoilers off guard.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see how pavement go here as well. You know, we know they're good in the breeze. They're so solid usually in this racing. And very uncharacteristic race there from them. So I expect them to really step up in a good way here.
When we approach the bottom.
We're about 3.5 minutes away from the start of the next race here, Jimmy. So still time for Euroflex to work out what went wrong in the last.
Yeah, you can just hear there Nathan Outteridge and Harry Mile having a little chat about some manoeuvres, just really getting their playbook sorted and knowing exactly what's going to happen when they call those manoeuvres as taps and jibes.
5, 4, ready? 3, 2, 1, go! Yes! The red flyer!
So good! Parko is just absolutely frothing, isn't he? He cannot wait for this next race.
I mean, you've got a feel for Euroflex in a way. They've been the series front runner. They won Adelaide, they won Geelong, they won the Gold Coast, and they're missing such a key element. Almost their linchpin here at the moment. Ian Jensen, he's not here, and they've had to scramble to get themselves organised here. That is a massive ask for them.
Absolutely, you know, and there's no time to sit around and think about it. They just have to make it happen. They have to perform, and I'm sure they're going to bring it in this next race. You know, true champions always step up, and it's going to be great to see what Nate, Glenn, and Harry can bring out this next race.
If I can get more comms on my exit angle.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because it starts loading up. It starts loading up really quickly, and I just can't like. And so I stop turning, and then I'm not high enough. Yeah.
There are so many high fives on that clean made boat. That's why they have to wear gloves. It's not for the sheep pulling. It's for all the high fives. Such high spirits, Jimmy.
Absolutely. It's so good to see from those guys. They have so much fun out in the water. We've got a minute 35 to go, and same start as last time. We've got to see who's going to battle for that pin end position. We saw how well that worked for Record Point. That was the real game changer for Phil, to get his nose out in front and really stretch the legs early in the race. The first 30 seconds are the most important. They have to nail this. Euroflex just pulling over the top of Tech 2, saying, I'm taking that leeward position. Phil 3 up from them. Interesting spot from him.
Keep trimming up slowly.
About a minute away from the start of our second race here on Sydney Harbour. Jack, what have you got for us?
So everyone's lining up for the start. ID are back in action. At this stage, I'd say ID are actually in a very strong position. Euroflex down towards the pin end, next to their nemesis Tech 2. Record Point well positioned. So the racetrack's cleared out quite a lot now. So I think we'll have less obstacles for this race. But the breeze, 15 to 16 knots, and slightly built from that first one. Plenty of action to come.
No doubt about that, Jack, and good to see that these magnificent machines have been given a little bit more leeway by the other spectator craft and pleasure vehicles that are occupying Sydney Harbour at the moment, but we can see a great smattering of spectators there on the side here just ahead of Shark Island. It really is a magnificent vantage point to watch the best sailors in the world.
Here we go. Phil battling for that pin end position. Looks like Euroflex might take it off him. Record points late.
3, 2, 1. Start. Clear start.
Record points struggling to lay. They're going to get absolutely shafted off this line, and Nathan Aldridge just says, thank you very much. I'll take that.
What about pavement? They're in good pressure, and so too Clean Made here. That's looking nice for them, but it's Euroflex with a clean pair of heels at the moment and just running away at this stage.
Yeah, this is Exhibit A, true champion step up, and this is Nathan Aldridge taking the pin, putting the bow down, and he's off.
And look at that from Clean Made as well. They're really enjoying the opportunity to race in front of their family and friends. As we see ID planted in there, they might be having some issues still with their kit.
Clean Mate's got some awesome pressure through the middle. A little private puff has just carted them up the track. And that'd be your leader right now. They'd be taking that lead off Euroflex, and they got an amazing mode.
Clean Mate's ripping it.
And Nathan Aldridge just saying Clean Mate's ripping it. Absolutely they are. They're in a mystery puff and they're cashing in as we see the split. It is Record Point.
So Record Point getting shafted off the pin there, barely laying, had to tack out, find clear air. They're out of sync with the fleet, which will help them from there.
Here we go.
And that might actually just play into Phil Robertson's hands. He quite likes being the rogue amongst the fleet, doesn't he? He always looks for a different direction.
Yeah, no more trim.
Absolutely enough. To start like that, his foot will be to the floor. And this is unbelievable from Clean Made. Their moding is so great. They've got the boat completely dialed in, going for their tack. They're your current leaders right now.
They're attacking now. Okay, happy to set up. Okay, go board.
And there's another private puff. Look at Record Point at the moment, absolutely scorching in there on the squirt. Closing gauge as well.
And you can see the boats have finally got some time to stretch their legs. Not too many boats around, not too many yachts, so they've got a clean racetrack.
Must have been all the noise of the SuperFoilers that scared them away. Jack?
So Clean Mate got off the line beautifully there. They've taken a nice higher lane through the middle of the track, tacked out and looked to be the early leaders. Tech 2 in a nice position with pavement to leeward of them. It didn't look like the tack off the line for Record paid. They're at the back of the pack at the moment with ID, so great battle again.
Great stuff there, Jack. Yes, Clean Mate at the moment, just extending at the moment. But Olivia Price isn't happy. Something's wrong, she said. Nothing looks like there's an issue for pavement at the moment. Steve Thomas has that lit up.
Yeah, Steve's really got the foot down there. He's doing a really nice job, and so they've come off the start line, and now they've got to work their way through the middle gate and then up to the top gate where they turn to come back downwind. Clean Mate still hanging on to this lead. Tech 2, 38 metres behind.
That was less than ideal, boys.
And a lot of chat out there at the moment, isn't there?
Yeah, really interesting what's happened to Euroflex here. Can't see them in shot, and they might be having some issues, but a few ferries coming down the track now. Looks like the top of the track might be a little more congested.
Olivia Price was asking for clear comms at the start of this race. She wanted her teammates to provide more precise feedback. Let's hope they're dialed in at the moment because, as you say, Jimmy, it looks like a parking garage up there. Everyone's out for some Saturday driving. And Clean Mate, they've had a bit of a resurgence here. They finished on the podium in Bustleton as we see one boat's capsized behind them. Let's hope that's not an omen for more trouble.
Absolutely. So Olivia Price leaving both boards down here. That safer, more stable mode. Here comes the Bearaway. Big bows down there, but they've ripped it away. Two guys on trapeze and they'll be up on the foils.
Good putt.
And Tech 2's in second at the moment. They're 3 seconds at the tail of Clean Made, and it's that sound we're used to hearing, the sound of speed, and look at them roll past Clean Made.
And there's the difference between 3 boards and 4. One slower, more stable. Luke Parkinson letting it rip, going for max speed there and just sailing straight over the top.
Well, he's obviously caught wind of the fact that Euroflex are in 5th, and he's just looking to put some meters into them at the moment. We can see that they're really stretching out at the moment around that gate. We're on our second leg, and they're screaming on Sydney Harbour. So from the telemetry at the moment, Tech 2 in first, Record Point second, ID third. Well, there's a lot of movement going on there, Jimmy, at the moment. It's anyone's game.
Absolutely, and it's all going to be about Tech 2's ley line into this middle gate. You can't overlay with this much wind. It is absolute death. You will go down the mine before you even know it. So you have to nail this ley line and just go clean through that middle gate and then onto the bottom gate.
We can see ID at the moment. They've obviously got something right working there for them quickly. At 24 knots-ish, you bet they've figured it out quickly.
Yeah, CJ's back in the game here for sure.
Can't see well, just lean back, brother. Give it some, 2, 1, go. Yeah, I know.
Tech 2, you can see their speed, 26.
Try it, yeah, I'm getting there.
Just constantly going up. They need some runway, and that speed will just keep going up.
Coffee. Ease, Trav. Try and trim. Ease, yeah.
Look at our race leader.
Yeah,
Look
nice.
how fast she is at the moment,
Jim,
slicing through these sailing boats and leaving some speed craft in her wake as well.
Gonna need power and everything now.
And what about this from Record Point? They're back into the contest. They were in 6th at one stage. Now they're in 2nd and sailing beautifully on 3 boards at the moment. Beautiful comeback.
Yeah, Phil's got this boat dialed with the big man Neil Hunter on the wire, swinging it down. It's amazing they can do these speeds with only one guy on trapeze.
It's no secret the Kiwi prefers to sail in these big winds. He loves them.
Going straight or looks alright, eh?
2, 1, driving.
Yep. So that leg really helped out Tech 2. Record points behind them with ID and Euroflex in a little tangle. And Clean Made and Pavement really close to.
Tech 2 having a bad drive exit there, so they've stuffed the bows under him. Phil Robson, Record Point, 20 metres, down to 15. He's going to be looking to pass, and Euroflex is still fending off Clean Made here, trying to keep them at bay.
Okay, happy any time here?
Well, they're just passing Shark Island, and Clean Made is circling Euroflex at the moment and getting a little snap happy and digging it in.
Keep the board down, I think. Just start on 4 from here.
Nathan calling 4 boards.
Watch this rake here, okay? Keep your weight out, keep your weight out. No.
Yep. Bring in the lift in.
Swing, mate.
So Nathan Adams must be trying to lay a gate or get a low mode for some reason here.
Sacrificing speed for a shorter distance. Whereas Luke Parkinson is just driving on the Autobahn at the moment.
Drive. Ready?
He's just stuffed the bows down before this jibe. He's going to go back to that left-hand western side of the track. That's where he likes. Be interesting to see if Phil follows, because he knows that's the way to go, or if he's still going to try and force a split.
Really wanted that turn. Here we go. Let's go, let's go.
So Phil sailing across the gate. He's going to go to the eastern side of the harbour. He knows it's not so great out there, but if he can get in some different wind to Luke, then maybe he can get by.
Just wants to get out of sync. He's 18 seconds behind the race leader, Tech 2, at this stage.
And it's absolute carnage at this bottom mark. There's so many boats around. They're trying to sail these boats, fly these boats, and then not crash into anyone else. There's so much on for these teams.
Jack, there's a lot on down there on the water.
Plenty happening down here, Nick. The Tech 2 just doing an outstanding job again. Came flying down and have a strong lead. And the Euroflex chosen the left gate and heading out towards the spectators out here, still in striking distance, but spectacular racing out here, and all the spectators are now starting to push out further off the boundary, which is making it a little easier for them.
Very good. We can see Euroflex has less than a minute to reel in Tech 2. That's the 52-second gap. Hardly anything at all. And what about this from Clean Made? She's in 4th.
Driving! Actually, yeah, drive! No, hold. Sorry, boys.
Awesome job from Olivia there, really knowing what she's after, making sure she's got clear comms. It's always last minute decisions, but she's getting the job done really nicely here.
Not much between pavement and clean mate at the moment. That is a hot little tete-a-tete between 4th and 5th at the moment. And ID, they were in 2nd. They're going to turn at our 2nd gate in 6th position.
Yeah, still battling away here, CJ. I'm not sure that they're both 100%, or maybe he's just not brought his A game today. But, you know, this is the time he's got one more beat to do. And
Let's go,
see
lads.
if he can get up that left side of the track and make some meters back.
This is our race leader, Luke Parkinson.
Just getting it going. Probably thinking, what do we got? We got one more tack, eh? And then we go to the left.
So Phil's in a good position.
Yeah. 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 Little speed build here, Aiden.
And Tech 2, it means so much to them. Boy, aren't they fired up. Very passionate with some of that language.
17,
Almost as colourful as pavement sails.
Yeah, that you can hear them talking about how hard it is in the waves. And Phil Robson at record point now falling down on his line and now following Tech 2. So
yep. Ready? 2, 1. Yep.
This is a perfect scenario for Luke
2,
Parkinson.
1, tacking.
He's in the lead and 2nd place is following.
See Aiden Menzies get out there so quickly. He's the man doing a lot of talk, and we can hear applause. It wouldn't surprise me if they've just rolled past the Tech 2 supporter craft. They've got all their friends out there wearing the red hats of the Red Flyer, and already they've had lots to cheer about. They'll be flying high, those spectators.
Okay, here we go.
And you can see here Luke Parkinson heading out to the western side of the harbour again, and he's up on the foils. He likes to push it a bit faster this direction.
Except it's about 5 times warmer.
Some great pressure there as well. Record Point seems to be in a good line, in good phase at the moment as well. So this is a great little battle between Tech 2 and Record Point.
Just a little stuff there as well. Small mistake from Tech 2.
And I'm hearing of a mistake back there for Cleanmate as well. They also encountered a bit of trouble further back and almost went in again. But happy to see they're all 3 on board, all 3 dry. And still ahead of ID at the moment, so they might have surrendered a bit of distance to pavement, but they still have a cushion over ID.
Yeah, after this catch, okay? Left turn, stand by. Ready? Stand by.
And Record Point down to 120 metres. That is absolutely striking distance for this last downwind. And Phil's just going to want to close that gap and do the final damage on that last run.
Well, we know how much Tech 2 like to get that craft wobbling, and that kind of on-the-limit stuff could be risky in this type of racing, as we hear as well. Luke Parkinson saying that was a beautiful one, just quietly. Nothing's quiet, Luke. You're mic'd up. The world is listening. I think you forget sometimes, Jimmy.
Yeah, it's so good to be riding on board with these sailors, hearing their every word. And Phil Robertson, here he goes, 110 metres, this battle is on. What he's going to try and do is put pressure on Tech 2, force that mistake that he made last race, and force it onto the other boat and try and get by.
This is a great battle, Jimmy. Tech 2 are going to have the pressure on them. And a massive moment in the championship here in the Express SuperFoiler Grand Final, of course. Tech 2, if they can do this, they'll have a really nice buffer over Euroflex.
Yeah, and you can hear there's Nathan out who sat behind Tech 2. He was calling that they were underlay. So we're going to see Euroflex go a bit past Tech 2, maybe past Record Point, and come in on a faster angle. So we could see that 200 metre gap from Euroflex to Tech 2 really decrease at this top mark.
And this is a great run here from Record Point at the moment. 100 metre gap is now just a 50 metre gap. So Tech 2 in the lead, but only just ahead of Record Point and Euroflex. Pavement a bit out of sorts in 4th, and ID's just rolled past Cleanmate.
Tide should help us get up.
Record Point down to a 50 metre trailing distance from Tech 2 and Euroflex here. They're going to be letting it rip. They're ready to go for this last downwind. It's going to be interesting to see these top mark roundings. That's the big danger point of this racetrack. Who can bear it away around that top mark? That's the highest risk of capsize.
And there is a lot going on at that top end of the course too, Jimmy, as well. That seems to be where the fiesta is at the moment.
Yeah, and Nathan Adams was right. These two boats haven't laid, so they're going to have to do a left turn here big moment for Tech 2. Can they nail this pair away?
Trim.
Gee, they were up quick there, Jimmy.
Absolutely perfect grounding. 20 knots to 30 in an instant. And Phil Robson doing an amazing job as well.
We just saw, though, that Neil Hunter had to get inbound off the trapeze and do something with the forward foil there as well. So not quite as perfect, perhaps. But certainly not out of it at 9 seconds behind.
Possibly sailing a different mode on that downwind, and it'll be interesting to see how that gap goes as they head out to that western side of the track. And Euroflex also haven't laid that right mark. They're attacking to go left, and they've really got a big job to do. I sort of expected a bit more from them up that beat, and you know, they've really got to get going now. The time's starting to run out.
Well, it's just so hard for Euroflex. You've got to think one of their key players there, Bauman Ian Jensen, an Olympic gold and silver medalist. He's been with them, holding their hand at every stop. From Adelaide to Bustleton, now he's MIA, and all of a sudden it feels a little cold on board Euroflex.
Car up the sail. Come on.
Nathan calling for the traveller to the middle, and Glennie, big shoulders back on that trapeze. He's got the main sheet. He's in big control out there, so Nathan just battling with those waves off all the spectator boats.
That sound of the SuperFoiler is so unique as we see Euroflex go past 30 knots there. You can't rule these guys out. They get that lit up, and it's going to be burning in no time at all.
Absolutely, Nate's just said, bugger this, we got to go. We got to send it 30 knots now down the harbour.
It's like a Nicolas Cage movie. They'll be gone in 60 seconds at this rate. And we can see Record Point haven't given up on Tech 2 either.
Bottom of the course, lads. He's twist.
Oh, very unstable here from Record Point. See how aggressively Phil has to drive. The boat is on an absolute knife edge.
Okay, ready for it. Once we pass the start line, go board, okay? Yep.
Neil Hunter, big lean back, one hand on the toe strap, trying to hang on as they go for this job. Sam Phillips ripping that board down.
Hang on. 3. Yep. Ready to jive. 2, 1, going.
Diving through the boat there.
Yeah, agree.
Not a foiling job, but they've come out with okay speed.
Take rake off it.
Seems like they're building on 4 boards out of this job.
Gee, what a race we have here, Jimmy. Just 2.5 minutes between first and sixth.
Driving.
Any error will be exploited to the max right now.
Tech 2 coming off the foils there as well, so not much in those jibes.
I want right turn, okay? Taking off. Driving around right.
And nothing between Record Point and Tech 2. In fact, it looks to me like Record Point have got the better of things at the moment. A little bit of payback, a little bit of revenge for the last race, perhaps.
Happy to do 4 boards.
That's amazing. Phil Robson in the fast lane. He said he wanted the right turn at the bottom, so if he can take that, he'll be leading to the favoured side of the course.
Leggings on that board. Yeah, nice.
He might be sailing a little more loose here, Phil Robertson, but it's paying off.
Okay, ready for right turn here, boys.
Really tough manoeuvre there. He's going to have to do 2 quick jibes.
Go, Will.
So is Tech 2.
It's okay, I'll get it.
Can't underestimate just how well Tech 2's
Go,
doing.
boys.
They don't have Sam Newton here. He's at a wedding. They've called in a Phillips brother to help out.
Big mate.
And it's a bit of Phillips on Phillips at the moment.
1 and then to the finish. Let's
Absolutely.
go.
One brother, Sam on Record Point, one brother, Will on Tech 2. So there'll be a bit of rivalry there.
Right turn.
It'll be a pretty happy dinner table at the Phillips household tonight if things continue as they are. Tech 2's got one win. Record Point might have the next.
And a nasty manoeuvre here from Tech 2, having to do that U-turn, which is a manoeuvre that nobody likes to do, but he knows that he has to head to that western side of the track.
This is a great moment for Record Point. They trailed the last turn by about 6 odd seconds. Now, Jimmy, they've got a 34-second cushion. Phil Robertson is not going to let go of this one. Their final leg now.
Okay, stand by, go board.
Phil will be killing himself if he let that last race go, and he's not going to let this race out of his hands.
They're closing in here at the moment. They've just got to keep that buffer, make sure the Tech 2 don't snatch it from them. Again.
Got to go behind you.
And they're looking comfy there on the record point. All on trapeze, shoulders back, hull just flying nicely.
3-point foiling at the moment. That's the top speed, isn't it? That's the peak performance at the moment.
Yeah, and you can hear Phil saying marginal lay there, so they're just going to try and get a high mode, and now you'll see that middle hull just touching the water a little bit more. See the finished boat in the bottom middle of your screen, that's where he's heading to. As you can see, more superfoilers smoking downwind back through the same line, some going up, some going down.
Is he going to lay here?
There goes ID. I think he is going to lay.
Here we go.
And record point. They had a point to prove, and they've got the victory that slipped them by.
Shit up. I should start like that more often, eh?
That is an unbelievable race from record point. After getting smoked off the start line, they've fired all the way back through the fleet to take out the race.
How loose is it, eh?
Played it pretty well, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. Felt like real nice upwind modes, eh?
You've heard it from Phil.
Yeah, that was massive.
Awesome speed, awesome modes upwind. That's where they're making their money. They've just got pure speed on the other boats.
I think sometimes you just go like...
And this is Tech 2. They've closed out second position, so a little bit of a swapsy there. Tech 2 got the first, record point, get the second.
And I couldn't get it.
And, well, that will be so sweet for record point. Not bad for Tech 2, though, in terms of the championship calculations. They've got a little more on Euroflex.
Absolutely, they're really taking the game to Euroflex now, and that'll be starting to creep into Luke Parkinson's mind as they sort of think about the bigger picture. But a lot of racing to go, and you know, as you heard from Phil, you know, you wouldn't want any more wind, eh? Like, they are really on the edge here, and those top mark roundings are getting absolutely lethal.
We can see Euroflex at the moment. They're eager to seal out third position here. They will be kicking themselves. To have let Tech 2 finish ahead in 2 races is going to be just kryptonite for those guys, because they know it's the Sydney Regatta that matters most. It's worth twice the points.
Let's get the guys straight over here.
And we can hear there Nathan Outeridge wants the team chase boat there ASAP.
Can you send over one of the Pro Guard guys to Euroflex, please?
In fact, no, that's one of the safety boats there, one of the medical experts.
I think Harry might have an injury here.
We need a paramedic to Euroflex. No, but... I don't need a bloody paramedic.
So Harry's protesting that. Let's listen.
You just need to ride to shore.
Yeah. What do you want, Connor?
I think we're going to need to, yeah.
Give my kick to it?
Yep. He's just hurt himself. You might be on.
So Nathan Outeridge, they've just finished third, and he's saying that Harry, their bowman, who's filling in, is injured at this moment in time. Harry's saying, I don't need a paramedic, I want to stay, but...
No, not your fault. I kind of found the fucking back of the boat, but it just fucking... There's something wrong with that stuff.
So that's really interesting there.
Not good.
Yeah, really tough there. So
we got an injury.
Obviously got an injury to Harry, and they might be calling on one of their backup sailors, who I think could be Connor.
We'll go under the ribbon to you.
Who's an Australian sailing squad member, and you know, a really good sailor. So the young guy could be getting the call up of a lifetime here, but we'll wait and see how this sort of pans out. And we still have boats coming upwind, so Euroflex taking out third, and I think Pavement just ducked in through 4th place there, so could be ID or Clean Made into 5th next. But yeah, very top end conditions out there.
Well, this is such a key moment, isn't it, for Euroflex? Not only have they just finished third, they've also got personnel dropping like flies at the moment.
Attack over here, mate.
And so there's Harry, he's on board there and undergoing a wardrobe change at the moment. The safety wheel people won't be far behind. We've got a free show. We better go to Jack. Jack, what's going on, mate?
Nick, so we've got a little injury on the Euroflex. Harry Mile in the bow. He's hurt his knee by the looks of things. I haven't got a confirmation, but it looks like he's hurt his leg. So he's off for the day. And we've got the stand-in young Connor getting on board to help him out for the last race. So everyone's okay at this point, but just bad luck for Harry.
Yeah, it's terrible luck for Harry, but a great opportunity for the fill-in. What do we know?
Connor, he's a NACRA 17 sailor, so that's an Olympic class. He's been doing a bit of sailing with Nathan over the last few weeks, actually, in the NACRA 17. They've been doing some training together, so they know how each other works. I reckon Nathan will be quite comfortable in popping him on.
A huge moment for him, though. The nerves must be sky high, Jack, joining the dream team at this late stage where they're under pressure, looking for a hero.
No doubt about that, Nick. I mean, we've got an 18-knot nor'easter, quite a few big waves, quite a few spectator fleets, so not the easiest day for him to start, that's for sure, but I think he'll be licking his chops at the opportunity.
Thanks very much, Jack, and keep us across Harry's injury as well, please. It's his second day on the Superfoiler, and he's hurt his knee there by the sounds of things. Jimmy, something you know all too well.
Yeah, no good hearing that news out of Euroflex, and it's so easy to do on these boats. We're always on trapeze, and when you're on trapeze you often put your foot in these toe straps or foot straps similar to windsurfers and kite surfers, and that just helps attach you to the boat and can be real harsh on the knees.
Race 7 was record points, They deserved it, they would have felt in race 4. They got it in race 5 ahead of Tech 2, so a bit of a change in order there for them. Euroflex, despite the injury to Harry there, they managed to claim third with Steve Thomas still in touching distance, importantly for pavement there, and Clean Made finished on top of ID, who looked to have a really good start there. Clean Made, they just need to string it together for an entire race, Jimmy.
Yeah, look, Clean Made first the top mark. They absolutely owned that start. So impressive from them, their upwind speed.
But what about this? Tech 2 all of a sudden have a little bit more breathing space. It's been a great day for them. They're on 24 points ahead of the series frontrunner Euroflex, who are on 21. Pavement now have their gap cut by record point. They've just got 1 point to record point at the moment. And ID, one good race, and they are in the thick of things once more. And Clean Made, well, we said they'd look to improve. They have already. Expect more of the same from Olivia Price as our final race of Saturday rolls into play. It looks like a pretty nice layup at the moment, and I'm not just talking about the gorgeous Sydney Harbour, Jimmy, but more the series consequences as we look at race 5, and it's ID again going the furthest.
Yeah, look, interesting stats there. It's obviously some troubles from ID, and interesting to see record point as well. Starting to get those meters down. Traditionally, Phil likes to sail a little faster and a little more distance. So he's starting to get that down a little bit to that shorter distance mark where Euroflex like to be. And once again, Phil Robertson, he's got wheels, he's got the speed. That's 17.86 average speed. Absolutely unbelievable.
Oh, it's crazy. Rocket Robertson there. But what about that for a top speed there from the Perth Punisher, Luke Parkinson, churning out 32.8 knots for a top speed. He's just racing himself at the moment, this guy. He's in the red zone for the red flyer, and he's absolutely smoking.
That is phenomenal speed. You know, these boats aren't going any longer than 30 seconds at one time before they tack or jibe. So to pull a speed like that is truly unbelievable in, you know, the amount of traffic that we're seeing on the harbour. Can you imagine the noise, the speed, all the spray off the boat at that speed, and then you have to sort of navigate these boats and find your way around the track, navigate the gusts and the lulls, and it must be so difficult out there.
Oh, it'd be almost impossible, but one man found the key to the puzzle. That's record points own Phil Robertson, a winner here in Sydney.
Phil, you won. Nice work.
Yeah, no, it was. We were stomping that one, so that was good. Yeah, had some pretty nice modes upwind, to be honest, and know how to send it downwind, so that's good. And yeah, a few little, I just can't say how hard it is out there. It's incredibly difficult with all the boats and traffic, and we're doing 30 knots, some of them are doing 4 knots, and some are doing 20 knots out there. So yeah, it's a challenge, but a lot of fun, and the wave state's getting higher as well. So quite a few cavitations and crashes.
So what's the key for the last race of the day?
Shut up and send it. No, it's look, it's getting a little bit breezier as well now, which is nice. Everyone's got the big gear up, so as they say, big sails and big races, and that's what everyone's trying to do. So no, look, we just want to get off the line a little cleaner and keep it pretty simple. We've got a lot more pressure on the other side of the harbour, but it's slowly clocking right now, so I think it's opening up the racetrack a bit, and obviously the other side of the harbour has a lot more traffic as well, so you got to weigh that up.
You're looking very under control, upwind and downwind. You're flying through the start-finish gate down that last run.
Yeah, under control. Well, it's a different view from on board, I can tell you. It's, I'm glad it looks like we're under control, because yeah, we're on a knife point out there, and especially the downwinds are pretty hairy.
Nice work, Phil. So good luck for the last race.
Cool, thank you.
Shut up and send it. How about that? Sounds like it could be a top 40 song. Shut up and send it there, but he's certainly been doing it. He's been putting his money where his mouth is and chomping off some serious points today. You must be so happy, Jimmy, to see your former teammate, or current teammate, I should say, from the Extreme Sailing Series doing so well.
Yeah, absolutely. We've just spent a couple of weeks in the Middle East just foiling around and sending the boats, so it feels super fresh. It's all right in the front of his mind, and he's absolutely doing a great job right now. He's a little slow off the mark with all the injuries he had to his team in the beginning, and was sort of stitched up with new crews each event, and now he's had the same crew for 2 or 3 events, and it's really starting to pay off.
This is our VIP hospitality boat here. They've got a great seat in the middle of the racetrack here at the Express SuperFoiler Grand Final. Really some stunning vantage points there. It's all outside viewing, and what better place to soak in a few cold ones and watch the world's best sailors go round than right there. And some of the fans have even bought their own still cameras there, so snapping a few memories as well. Awesome place to be. Sydney Harbour on a sparkling day, watching the world's fastest sailing boats. Not a bad combo, Jimmy.
No, look, that's a pretty perfect day, isn't it? The breeze is up and the sun's out, and these guys are getting an absolute treat to watch here.
Oh, and look at this, the Red Flyer, the Tech 2 support boat. Those guys know how to party. They throw a mean barbecue, and they've got the Red Flyer hats on as well. That would be a good place to be as well. So side by side, one of the sponsor boats alongside the VIP boat, all of them soaking in some stunning racing. It's been gorgeous to watch here on Sydney Harbour, the world's most famous sails in a way. The Opera House have been the backdrop for sails of a new kind. The carbon fibre monsters of the SuperFoilers have filled their sails today and been clocking some wondrously fast speeds.
Yeah, it's amazing to see a lot of these classic boats sailing around in the harbour, and as Phil said, there's so much traffic out there, and some's going 4 knots and some's going 20, and they're going 30 or 32. So the closing speeds on some of these boats will be absolutely incredible, and thinking on your feet is an absolute must.
Oh, it sure is. As we can see, this is such a futuristic spectator platform as well, but it must be so interesting to be on a sloop going around, a nice little wooden boat, and all of a sudden you see the carbon fibre scream. Well, you probably hear it before you see it, the hiss of the SuperFoiler purring through the water, and then all of a sudden a carbon fibre rocket skirts past you. You wouldn't, if you didn't know about it, you'd think you'd gone into the future.
Yeah, absolutely. We get some strange faces sometimes when you buzz past one of those old sort of classic boats or some of the cruising yachts on the harbour, and sometimes they think you're absolutely crazy and out of control, but everything's always sort of in check, and it's not too dangerous out there, although it is definitely on the edge of your seat.
No doubt about that. As Phil says, or as I say to my mailman, shut up and send it. There's more of that coming, no doubt, Jimmy. And probably Euroflex will need to show their cards pretty quickly. They've had 2 races where they've been a little bit off their own impeccably high standards. They'll want to show something here, but it's going to be a tremendous ask with new personnel on board. Almost a poison chalice.
Yeah, absolutely. Euroflex has got a big challenge here, and they might be into a little bit of damage control. If they can get a top 2 here, a top 3, they can sort the rest out tomorrow and sort of regroup tonight. But they do need to sort of perform quite well in this race to keep their options open, to take out this event and the series. And Connor's a great sailor, as Jack mentioned. He's from the foiling NACA 17, so he's good at flying. He's young, youth's on his side, and I've heard he's a bit wild on the NACA 17, so I'm sure he'll fit in just fine.
Well, judging by Connor's haircut, he likes to live on the edge, and I reckon he's going to be absolutely sending it today. We can see Harry's still there, probably giving him some last-minute advice.
Yeah, and I know Harry's had a little knee injury before, so I'm wondering if that's maybe something that's happened again, or if this is a sort of a fresh one, but definitely feeling for him here.
Yeah, it's so disappointing for Harry. He's put in so much work behind the scenes with Euroflex to get to this moment.
Oh, this is what we call throwing you in the deep end.
Yeah, I was just saying that to Harry.
And there you go. Harry's on board, he's safe.
So you got
He'll be whisked away.
take on board up, board down line, drop angles.
Yeah.
So it's Traveller, you're on that a bit. Jib sheet's here if we call for it, but I'm normally doing that. And then the Cunningham's on the mast. And then the rotator's out here.
Yeah. So, drop angles, upwind, always into negative.
Yeah.
Downwind.
Downwind, you've got those two marks, right?
Yeah, so you got a full negative to be back.
There's a quick brief. Hope you got all that.
And then you just tail it through your legs. And then in the jibes, get it. So like when you when you drop it, you stand basically, and you pull between your two legs.
Oh,
So you go like that, exactly. Because it actually sucks down.
This is incredible. Daniel Ricardo, aka Nathan Outeridge, has just tossed the keys to some kid in the garage and said, "You're right, I've got to go. Here you go." I mean, it's just outstanding.
No, I haven't.
Absolutely amazing stuff.
We just went through the drop angles and the board up and down, and Traveller Cunno.
Yeah, Traveller Cunno. It's basically exactly the same as Acro, really, as far as the board's got to go. The jib car is generally sort of out on the accelerations out of the tack, so you're normally close the jib car just coming out of the tack. And then brings it back. Once we're up and ripping, board up and it's going, you'll just reach it. So, but mate, just give it a shot. Rip the bag, it's nice, mate. No, kidding. We won't be holding back on. Generally on the downwinds, we're sort of like camping two on the wire, but
it's a mixture. Like it's better to get two on the wire, but we try to get you in with 10 seconds before the drop to get prepped, so that you can get your drop angle and all that sorted. And make sure when you're going downwind or upwind, you have a bit of positive, because if we touch down, we don't want to blow the elbow off. We don't want negative on the board. All right, we'll just flop onto port and cruise over a bit.
How much am I playing?
you can play it a little bit upwind if you can.
Sure.
You'll generally
Rescue me, this is Euroflex.
Upwind with this stuff. But when you go down the track, you're sort of adjusting, 150 mil, in a big puff, and you can just sort of play it upwind a bit if you like. And coming into the front mark,
No.
yeah, we sort of basically shake the trap, master pace to run off. The main one's sort of, as soon as you punch through the power zone, sort of come in, off, mask rotation, and then sort of get prepped on the board if we're taking the right turn. If we're going left turn, we'll be able to sort of get going and start boosting for a bit. So.
Yeah, we're good to go. We're just trying to get the radio, but if you can relay. Yeah.
Euroflex, this is Cam.
Yeah, Cam, we got you now. Sorry, our radio stopped working there for a bit. We're good to go if they want to roll into a sequence. We'll have a bit of a crack at it.
Nice one, thanks for that. Cole, over to you to get this race in.
Well, look at that. It looks like Connor's doing his best Michael Phelps war dance pre-going swimming. He's just found out he's riding on the SuperFoiler of the series front runner. He's been given his gear, and all of a sudden he's going to be off racing. It'd be like if Tiger Woods' caddy all of a sudden had to tee off at the first at Augusta. Imagine the nerves.
Yeah, look, this is going to be the biggest day of his life for sure. So you've got Nathan Outeridge on one side, Glenn Ashby on the other. You just got to do board up, board down. Here's your drop break, here's your Traveller, here's your jib. Hope you got that. Yep, okay, got your brown pants, no worries. We're not going to hold back. Off we go, one more race.
You just wouldn't want to disappoint these two either. They're two of the greats of world sailing.
First ride on one like this.
And he's just revealed it's his first ride.
First ride on Silly Saturday.
Silly Saturday. Gotta love that. And then there's Bad Monday.
So we're about 5 odd minutes away from a race start here, Jimmy. So there's plenty of times for Connor to get even more nervous about what's ahead, and even more time for the other superfoilers to scheme about how they're going to inflict further pain on Euroflex, because they're the series leader, they are the hunted, and all of a sudden they've got a mammoth mountain to climb.
Absolutely, and Luke Parkinson on text 2 will definitely be able to taste blood right now. He can see the Ben Lexcen Trophy up on the wall, and he'll be dreaming about it as he comes up to this start line. But, you know, a big race here for Euroflex. They need to just get a top 3 and keep themselves in the game.
I wonder at this moment where Ian Jensen is. I wonder if Ian's partner Claire's already sent out a text message saying, cancel the flight to Bermuda or jump on one, buddy. You might be needed for Sunday. You might be needed to get these boys back onto the top step of the podium.
Yeah, for sure. There'll be a few tense moments coming up.
Oh, great.
Just go this board down for us. We'll just keep both down until we get going.
Let's just give it a little bit of a fucking loop when we dive, just give it a loop make sure it's actually loaded and complete. If you sort of, if there's any slack rope,
gosh, and the tutoring continues. The masterclass from Glenn Ashby and Nathan Outeridge. You're just going to go sailing with 2 America's Cup skippers. I mean, this is CV stuff. I wonder if you could put this on his sailing application and say, yeah, I sailed on the winning Superfoiler.
Drop the angle and just go straight across, and then you're on the board up on the exit of the jibe.
Jack, this is an amazing lesson being dished out. What can you dish out for us?
So everything's back on track now, Nick. So the Euroflex has the new crew member on board. They sound pretty relaxed. The pressure has remained steady at around 16 knots. We have a little storm cell building in the south here, which may come into play towards the back end of this race. It might, in my view, it might make the wind a little bit softer. But apart from that, the racetrack looks a little bit more clear again. So we can expect some great battles in this last race.
Jack, is the North Shores side of the harbour still the preferred side here, do you anticipate?
Interesting question, Nick. I was listening to Phil saying before he thinks the breeze is flicking right. So I think that's going to open it up to the right-hand side of the track, so the opposite to the North Shore. So we'll wait and see, Nick.
Can you ever recall a moment, Jack, when this has happened at the Blue Ribbon event, one of the sailors go down and some shore crew have had to jump on and sail with the big boys?
Oh, I think the nature of these boats, it does happen. They're going so fast, things can go wrong so quickly. So a twisted knee, that's not uncommon in these boats. It happened to Jimmy Wabowski sitting next to you, so it doesn't surprise me with the nature of these boats. They're the F1 of the on-water events. So, yeah, I think everyone's in reasonable shape.
Fantastic. I think the pressure is definitely on Euroflex at the moment, though. They came in with so much control, Jimmy, and all of a sudden the sands of control are slipping through their fingers.
Yeah, absolutely. Losing a little bit of control of the whole event and the series right now. And here's Luke Parkinson on take 2. It does look a little bit softer, and as Jack mentioned, it's getting a little later in the afternoon and the traffic's starting to clear off the harbour. And in the top right of your screen, there's that storm cell that Jack was talking about that could decrease the wind and maybe shift it around towards the later end of this race. And it's got 1:40 to go.
Okay. Who's in front of us here? Euro fucker.
Parko just assessing the conditions.
Yeah, Luke Parkinson there just still eyeballing the series front runner there and deep in consultation with Aidan Menzies.
Change your undies, eh? Yeah, they're fucking brown now.
I don't think anyone will get up.
And I think it's fair to say there's some great banter flying around between the two, great series rivals, the arch nemesis, Euroflex and Tech 2.
So it'll be interesting to see who's going to go down to the pin end and try and claim that end of the line again. We've seen Phil try and achieve that in past 2 starts, and he's got it. One of them. So interesting to see if he goes aggressive for that tactic again.
When we're board up, please, Will.
Is there any other mode for Luke Parkinson other than aggressive?
I don't think so. We haven't seen it yet.
Holding, got CJ taking out lured gap. 30 seconds. Staying high.
And Cleanmate's building speed here.
So Cleanmate could have a bit of control. Seems like they're down the pin end of the line.
18, 17, 16,
Lock high. Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start. Clear start.
There you go, and a great slingshot start from Euroflex, but just dipping the windward hull in just after the gun, and looks like Paul Campbell-James and ID has really punched in the middle of the line.
He had a great start last time around, Paul Campbell-James. He's fresh off a win in Miami. He took a week off from Bustleton and then lit it up in Miami, and he's flying now on Sydney Harbour. I'm astounded, Jimmy, at these pictures. Look how quickly the Superfoilers are travelling here.
This is amazing stuff. Team ID definitely getting the best of that start, and nothing in it between Tech 2 and Euroflex.
Well, we've got 6 Superfoilers all up and purring at the moment. It's a beautiful picture, and we can see ID, Tech 2 and Euroflex. Not much coverage between the 3 of them, with Record Point, Pavement and Cleanmate clipping behind.
It's amazing to see these boats going upwind next to these classic and cruising yachts, just like they're standing still. And Phil Robertson, as we thought, Record Point out to the left, taking the pin end, and he's got room to put the bow down and go really fast out that side.
Go board.
So Phil Robertson's tacking here. He's going to come back without any right, so he's got to duck and weave back through the boats.
And it's just so commonplace to see him try and shake up the deck here, Jimmy.
Absolutely. Be interesting to see if some boats tack on him and try and give him bad air as they sail back across the course.
And almost on cue, ID did that.
Okay, Tony.
So Tech 2 off to a great start of this
Hit the
race.
trap and then go board up.
ID's got a lot of pace on here.
Unclean it.
And Euroflex with a few teething issues, which is to be expected.
And Luke Parkinson looking to put the foot on the throat here. Just get over the top of Euroflex and give them bad air.
Going now.
This is going to be a close one here, Jimmy.
Euroflex right in the sandwich there. Record Point trying to pinch up underneath Euroflex. Tech 2, Luke Parkinson trying to just foot down over the top.
Well, this is the best start we've seen to any of the races so far. We can see the battle for first and second is about 5 metres, and it's 20 metres between first and fourth at the moment. Salivating stuff here on Sydney Harbour.
Yeah, this is what we've been waiting for all year. All the teams on a level playing field, all the skill level right up high, nothing in it between the teams.
That's Paul Campbell-James at the moment, out on the wire. They're 3-stringing the ID, boys.
Thinking right turn almost, mate.
Yeah, he seems to have found his groove here.
And you can see behind the picture that Jack was talking about, those sinister clouds looming.
Yeah, looks like there could be a big storm building, and then as we look north, clear blue skies. So interesting to see how long this race takes. And Phil Robertson on Record Point, I think, might have snuck through, and he's going to take the right turn off Tech 2 here.
There's not going to be much room here on that marker at all.
Go board down, please.
And they virtually cross in sync there.
Both teams pushing to get on the foil, and Tech 2 wants to jibe early, and I imagine Phil Robertson will cover as soon as they turn.
Hang on, Phil's jibe. Hold on. Good gust, stand by. Yes, agree. 2, 1, jibe.
Stay with it. Keep going. All the way towards the
And Record Point and Tech 2 have been trading blows all day, and it's more of the same at the front of this race at the moment, the final of the day.
So traditionally a good move there from Record Point, leading that jibe, but then Luke Parkinson just got that extra puff. And I think Tech 2 might have taken some points out there for some distance. And ID down the far side of the track, you see them in the top left of your screen, they're doing really well. They might have taken some metres out from the top mark.
Hold the weight, Hold the weight.
Jack?
Nick, Jimmy is exactly right. The ID's gone around the left gate and is cooking down that side of the course. I think what's happening here is that storm cell's dragging the breeze left. So that's favouring that side of the harbour again. And CJ's read that nicely, Paul Campbell-James, and looks like he's going to make some territory up. I don't know that he's in the lead. I think Tech 2 is still holding the lead, but he certainly made some good gains there.
So really variable wind here, that storm cell just shifting the breeze around a bit, and Tech 2's just hanging on to a 30-metre lead, so it's going to be a bit of a jibe off down this run. See who can plant some foiling jibes.
Well, look at this. I mean, ID at the moment, they're cooking. They'll be really pleased with their position as Tech 2 are in front at the moment, but perhaps a bit of a wind shadow from that huge mega yacht there.
Stand by. 2, 1, driving.
And ID just crossing Euroflex there at the top of your screen. Closing speeds of 40, 50 knots there as the boats come together. And CJ and ID's got to get through this ferry wake now.
And he's going to give himself a really hard task of it. He almost got some air time there.
Big trim. Active trim. Big trim. Bad weights. Keep the trim on.
Okay, I'm travelling out. Travel up.
This is ID. They've had a mixed day so far, but they're in third at the moment in this race. In fact, they're in second. They're jumping around, hopping around like a kangaroo at 27 plus knots at the moment. This is getting pulled over in a school zone stuff here.
ID getting absolutely carted there, right over the top of Euroflex and over the top of Tech 2, so they're into the lead now, 28.5 knots.
Yeah, beautiful run here from Paul Campbell-James, Ed Powys and Fang Warren. They're the three amigos. They love sailing together and they're making it count now.
Nice. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, driving in 10, okay?
And what a run that is for them. They will have almost not wanted to change heading there.
Stand by, board down, please. I think we can make it. Get board down.
And Tech 2 blitz past. They're not out of this either, are they?
This is unbelievable racing. 65 metres between the top three boats here as they all cross jobs.
Wait out.
Nathan Outridge on Euroflex has found his mode.
Ease Trav. No, we're good.
Such a unique sport, isn't it, to see that, you know, the world's best are coming past and you're just having a picnic on the stern of your boat here.
3. Thinking about the board soon.
Yeah, it's awesome. As Tech 2 jives here, they're going to come back through a really nice puff, and Nathan Outridge might match the jibe. Tech 2's just had a big crash down. See Connor battling to get that board down. Really hard work there. Penalty to Euroflex.
And going back.
Possible weight in here. Big trim.
Well, that was a master move there from Luke Parkinson. He saw it unfolding and he, as you said, put the foot on the throat. No favours to Euroflex in this race for glory.
So yeah, Tech 2 just being on starboard there, getting Euroflex, who was stuck on port and they had to avoid, so a penalty being handed out. And these are your leading two boats, and record point has smoked into the picture. Now we have 4 boats within 60 metres at this bottom gate.
2, 1 cross side.
And that penalty didn't look like it actually cost Euroflex too much there. They've still managed to keep pace as ID and record point scream on.
Round the outside.
This is the hardest part of the racetrack, trying to get in and get out cleanly. Record point's going to have a tough spot here, being behind both Tech 2 and Euroflex.
But she's coming in at pace here. He's won one already, Phil Robertson. He'll be wanting another one, I should think, here.
And ID will be happy going out to that right-hand side of the track on their own, not being caught up in this battle between these 3 boats on the left.
But what about that? Euroflex in the lead. Tech 2 is second behind. ID third. Record point fourth. We've got about 10 seconds, less than that, covering our top 4 Superfoilers. Jack, this is mouth-watering stuff.
So the ID took the left gate there. That was a nice little move. I saw them working on their foils in between races, so it looks like they've got a little bit more stability out of the foils for this race. A little bit of wet sanding has made a big difference, so I'm hoping that the ID can come out of this little split nicely.
It is that. It's a sprint. It's 100 metres of the best going at it now. And it's really close stuff, Jimmy.
Yeah, this is really tight racing, and Phil Robson just getting pinched out there. He's in a tough spot and going to tack out.
Turning.
And here we see Tech 2 has Euroflex pinned, so they couldn't tack until Tech 2 did. So now the track's going to be opened up, and hopefully they're laying this middle gate.
They're going a long way, Euroflex there. This is a great little strategic play between Tech 2, Euroflex and Record Point. Who's going to lay the best moves?
Lovely. Copy that.
You can see that big storm cell over the city just looming at the moment. Will that come into effect by the time this race ends?
It'll be so interesting to see. I know that at this moment in time, we're 3 races in, Jimmy, fatigue's starting to creep in here. The muscles are burning. You're making the decisions probably aren't as well informed as they were previously because of the oxygen deprivation that's kicking in. This is where you've got to rely on some muscle memory, instinct and guts. And so far, it's all paying off well for Record Point, Tech 2 and Euroflex.
Yeah, it's all about clear decisions at a high heart rate, and you see Tech 2 absolutely nailing that ley line. Now they're taking the lead off Euroflex with Record Point out to leeward of them.
Nathan's gone for attack. Let's attack.
Luke Parkinson's keeping his eyes and ears open and out for the move of Nathan Outeridge on Euroflex. It's a key battle for the championship.
Setting up. Go forward.
And it seems almost fitting that these two are duking it out at the moment, Jimmy. The 2 best in class are at the front of the class at the moment.
Yep, absolutely. And a classic tactical move here from Luke Parkinson to tack at the same time as Euroflex and stay in the same wind. As this storm cell gets closer and the wind gets more variable, there's even more reason to be in the same patch of wind that they're in.
You want to stay in the same patterns, and I'd imagine in terms of where they are right now in this race.
Add lift and go forward up. Unclear.
This is where you have to rely on your power and your muscle memory too. And I know from the DEXA body scan imagery that we've seen of Luke Parkinson, he's an incredible specimen. He's got hardly any fat, he's all muscle, and he's absolutely powering that Tech 2 forward at the moment.
Yeah, he's one of the top America's Cup grinders. You know, if you can't get the job done, he will, that's for sure. He's got plenty of grunt about him.
Speed here, please, ease. Really slow. That was really slow. I know, you just got to talk to Will. Get him to cover you on the trab.
And Aidan Menzies, the circuit breaker there.
More if you can't.
Staying feels slow.
Only doing 14. Here we go.
Only doing 13, 14, so they want to be doing 16, 17, 18 knots, just foiling upwind. That's their target speeds.
And they got there quickly, Jimmy. It's like when you're driving on a freeway, driving at 100 kilometres an hour, you come into a 50 zone, it feels like you're crawling. So that's the feeling when these guys are going 15 knots. That's quick for any normal boat. For them, it's sluggish.
One on them, don't worry. Stand by, board down. Here we go. Anytime. 2, 1, let's go.
Now, anytime.
Big swing, board up.
Okay, here we go. You go first, mate.
Connor Nicholas ripping that board down, doing an awesome job for being in the deepest end that there is. Thrown onto the SuperFoiler on the Saturday racing here in Sydney. The breeze is on at 17, 18 knots.
Oh, it's tricky stuff. What about the balance on the trapeze there? How hard would that be? And actually just trying to get centered when you're on the mat there. That must be almost impossible for a first-timer.
It's incredibly difficult to be on trapeze on the foils, but he's got a little bit of experience from that NACRA 17 foiling class, which will be definitely helping him out at the moment.
This is great work from Record Point. Phil Robertson is now within metres of leaping over Tech 2. Phil's been slowly burning it away, and he's making it count now.
He's doing an awesome job, and looks like Phil won't lay. He's going to have to tack and go left, and maybe Luke Parkinson can lay that right-hand mark and get ahead here.
Can he thread the needle? It'll be interesting to see. It looks like he probably can, but not so for Phil and co.
So we're going to see a big split on this last downwind.
Copy. Jump out, board. Put the plane on.
There we go. Tech 2 with the right-hand turn. Record point going to go left.
And surely Euroflex has to go the same side as Tech 2 here. That's the boat they're trying to shadow.
Stand by the treble hit.
Here we go.
So Euroflex just looking to cover Tech 2 here. That's the championship race they're thinking about, not the race immediately. Is that the case, Jimmy, would you say? A calculated cover?
Absolutely, they need to finish. Oh, massive bow down there.
Oh, and the new man swinging around. No, it's Glenn. It's
Glenn is
Glenn.
just throwing around the front there.
Get the board down and just get out of it, I think.
These boats are on the knife edge. They need to finish this day off with a third place and just keep their regatta intact. You know, they can do the damage control now, and then they can sort it out tomorrow and really let it rip. But they're struggling here at the moment.
Well, it's not every day you see Glenn Ashby soaring through the sky like that, and hopefully he's okay. Imagine if there was any injury to one of their key personnel, as we see Tech 2's on another speed build here. 28 knots they hit then. This is where they do their best work.
You can see record point in the top of the picture there. On port, so Phil has no rights. If he can't cross, he's got to get out of the way.
You'd imagine Luke Parkinson, being the master tactician that he is, he'll be looking to force record point into a mistake here and have a bit of a clean run at the line. We've got our top 5 superfoilers within 90 seconds of each other at the moment, so any mistakes from these front runners will be fully exploited by the chasing pack.
This is unbelievable pictures here. One mistake at 30 knots, it'll be about 200 metres gone.
And look at that 3-point foiling on record point. They are screaming along.
Big trim. Hey? Yeah, I'm happy at the moment.
Listen to the sound.
This is just top gear, full noise on the downwind.
4 points to the boundary, eh? Left turn bottom is a must. Okay, ready for board, and we're driving, go.
Such great control on the buttons there from Phil Robertson. He really has mastered steering the superfoiler.
He's got it absolutely dialed in. What an awesome drive there. Just catching off the foils. If Tech 2
Probably
pull
4
off the
point here, brother.
drive,
Okay, just keep wheels up. Wheels up. Big trim, yeah.
Look at that run. They just put 100 metres onto the leader.
Big trims.
Record point now.
I cannot
lead this
see
race.
bottoms now. I can't see bottom. Okay, just got it. Not far off this, brother. Ready? Go board.
Imagine driving a motorcycle at 70 kilometres an hour with no helmet and it's pouring down rain. You can't see a thing.
Go, boys.
All that spray coming on.
Mate, go. 4 point. You've got to add rate, Neil. 4 point, driving right turn.
Phil doing an amazing job here, calling for 4-point foiling. He wants that right turn at the bottom.
Yep.
He needs to lay the bottom gate. Tech 2 doing the same, trying to lay in the bottom gate with a lower mode in the 4-point foiling.
Lean out hard, lean hard.
Luke Parkinson calling for weight out on the foils there. He's got 3 on the trap.
Driving, guys, nice. Happy board up.
Phil, he's going to be gone here. This is on to the last leg, going to the finish here.
Go. Hang on, take off. Stand by drive. 2, 1. Driving.
Phil's got the side he wants, and Tech 2 has to follow.
Straight in the board up. Trim, everything.
They've stormed into calculation here, record point. They could have had 3 wins today. They're going to fight all they can for 2 wins in the day, and they've got a 20-second little gap over Tech 2 to help them squeak home.
Yes.
But Luke Parkinson will see that as a challenge, not as a chore, and he'll still like his chances of being able to haul in Phil and co.
Trimming. Going above the sky.
It's all on Phil now. This is his race to lose. He's just got to keep the foot down and keep it clean all the way to the finish.
Are we late? Okay, stand by. Going fast, go board. Fuck!
Oh, and that could prove super costly for Phil.
Tough tack there, just stuffing that new leeward bow, not enough lift in that foil as they run through.
And you've seen how much of a pace drop that is.
Little speed build, please. Okay, stand by, board down anytime.
If Luke Parkinson can jag this, it's race on.
And Luke Parkinson might be in delivery mode here.
Turning.
Trying to lock in the second and lock in that extra point on Euroflex.
Well, he should still be concerned by record point because they are very much Ben Lexcen Trophy contenders as well. They were in stalking distance. Now they're in the same room as the big three.
Here we go.
And look at them sail to the line.
Nice lad, sorry, it's alright, I don't know. Here we go.
And there's the left-hand end of the line, middle of your screen. Record point, laying through nicely. They're going to be straight through the finish here, taking out this race.
I'm not sure if it's 2 or 3 laps.
On a glistening day, we can see them go. There it is, record point sizzling. And they're in takeoff mode. Phil Robertson's the rocket man. And they blasted off into contention.
How good. Solid. Hey, that's a smart race, that one.
And in second place, as you guessed,
That's real happy.
it's Tech 2 nursing at home.
Yeah. Oh, eat the gear.
Crucially, though, ahead of Euroflex, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's the crucial point, isn't it? You know, getting as many points between them and Euroflex is their main concern right now.
Oh, good.
That was an awesome race, and you could see there in those shots that storm looming over the city. You know, these boys are going to want to get the boats back on the dock before that hits.
What a day for record point, and what a finish for Euroflex. Not just getting it around the course, but around there in third. That is superb sailing from 2 of the best mariners on planet Earth.
And an unbelievable effort from Connor Nicholas, thrown in the deep end on that race. So tough, 17-18 knots in the SuperFoiler. Bring it home in third. That's an unreal effort from him.
He'll be telling the boys in the NACRA for a long time to come about this day, and they'll say, no, I don't believe you, and he'll be able to produce the video to show that it was so. What a day for record point. They could have had 3 wins. They will be elated that they've got 2. That thrusts them into podium calculation, and indeed
We'll go for a send and then we'll go front
winning
zone,
calculation as well.
Oh, beers on, front zone, man.
And a storm is coming, Jimmy, and these guys are in the eye of the storm. They've come into the thick of things here. They will be racing to win the whole series tomorrow.
I'll put it in the fist.
Yeah, Phil's got his confidence up here. He said he's just going to go for a little send, and then we'll be back. We promise we won't break the boat.
Well, I'm sure he won't want to do any damage ahead of what will be a championship run for him tomorrow, as we see ID come towards the line now. They finished in 4th position there, still in the points, of course, ahead of double points racing, Jimmy, tomorrow. So it's anyone's game tomorrow. Euroflex did well to just preserve the damage today on Tech 2. And I would have to say,
just going upwind, eh?
record point now are just stretching the legs. This is just for the telemetry. They just want to see how quickly they could have gone out here.
Yeah, there's no doubt that Record Point's the fastest boat out there today, and they've got the wheels upwind and downwind. They've got the right moding, and everyone's locked in on the boats. That's a massive asset for them going into tomorrow, where we're likely to see similar conditions.
I wonder if Record Point's trying to get their top speed up for our graphic at the end when we have a look at it. Jack, you're with Nathan Outeridge.
Nate, very tough day that one. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it was your typical day on Sydney Harbour. Good 20 knots, bit of a run out tide, and everyone wanted to come out and watch us sail. So, we got 3 threes and keeps us in the game tomorrow, but, well, it was pretty tough.
How did young Connor fare in the last race?
Yeah, Connor did bloody well. I only called him 2 days ago and said, hey, can you come and drive our chase boat? And he's like, oh, I really want to see these SuperFoilers up close, and I think he got a bit more than he bargained for.
How's Harry? Is he all right?
He's okay. He just tweaked his knee. He said he sort of popped it. It's really easy to do. We just kept stuffing it on port jibe downwind today, and poor little guy hurt his knee, and I don't think he'll be able to sail tomorrow.
Pretty tight at the top of the table. You're not far out of it. I think it's a strong day to Tech 2, but you guys are still right in the hunt with double points tomorrow.
Yeah, some epic racing. The 3 of us were battling it out the whole way around, and that first race could have gone to anyone, and we just messed the jibe up and couldn't get through. But I think we're close enough in the points for tomorrow, and tomorrow's where it's all going to count. It's funny to think after 4.5 events, we've hardly lost a race, and here we are, clutching at straws a bit, but we'll be good for tomorrow.
Are you surprised at Phil and Record Point's performance today?
No, absolutely not. Those guys are on fire in the breeze. We saw that in Bustleton. They absolutely nailed it on Friday, and they're quick and they've got no fear, and it's only going to be windy tomorrow, I think. So I think it's the three of us fighting it out for this event.
Well, Nath, well done today. That was tough, but great stuff, and good luck tomorrow.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Cheers.
Great to hear from Nathan Outeridge there. It was a really tough day for them, but he's still got a smile on his face as we look at the results from race 6. Hard to imagine that you say it's a tough day when you're finishing in 3rd position. But a second win there for Phil Robertson of the day. Tech 2 with another 2nd place finish to add to their win earlier in the day. And ID took 4th ahead of Pavement, who perhaps surprisingly there, Jimmy, struggled for pace today.
Yeah, look, that's a really surprising one from Steve Thomas. Very uncharacteristic for them in the breeze and on the harbour. They know this place so well and they usually got such good speed, but not happening today.
For Tech 2, it certainly was happening today. They started the day on a 3-way tie. They now have an outright lead, 29 points, just ahead of Euroflex, but Record Point will be really liking their chances of a Regatta win here as well. They're on 24, with Pavement still very much in calculation. But don't rule out ID or Cleanmate either, because we've got lots of points on the line tomorrow, 7, 8 and 9. It's going to be 12 points for a win rather than 6. So this is still wide open, but one would have to say it's Tech 2, Euroflex and Record Point who've shown the most muscle so far, the most of their cards, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you said, it's moving day tomorrow, double points, anything can happen. So that's when you really need to stand up and perform, and everyone knows that. They'll be having a good think, and it's all about peaking at the right time.
Record Point, they won't be able to go to sleep tonight. It'll feel like Christmas Eve for them after such a great performance. Tomorrow they could potentially open up all the presents and see a Ben Lexcen Trophy under the tree.
Absolutely. Phil will be absolutely buzzing in this style of racing in these boats. Once you get confidence, that's extremely important. A bit of confidence and a bit of momentum, and you can achieve anything.
He'll be feeling bulletproof right now, Phil Robertson. Neil Hunter will be loving the moment as well. So too Sam Phillips. It's the honeymoon craft. These guys aren't on their honeymoon. They're into the 7-year itch. These guys have done a lot of sailing together. And when Sam Newton returns tomorrow for Tech 2, it's going to be the powerhouse team returning again on Tech 2. So they'll be really excited about their prospects as well. Distance sailed. Record Point obviously not taking their last little power run into consideration. But again, ID going the furthest. Some issues with the foils perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. It indicates, yes, maybe some problems with manoeuvres or you're motoring upwind. And Phil Robertson, amazing average speed there. He's got such a good pace advantage on the fleet right now.
And look at that, Cleanmate still averaging, let's call it 16 knots. That is super fast. I mean, that's the average speed, and it's faster than any boat on the harbour. But top speed is where it gets terrific here. ID clocking out 31.5 knots there. That is supremely fast. That is Express, and Record Point Express from them across the whole day today. That's zipping around, and if the weather continues to build, well, we'll consider maximum speeds like that sluggish tomorrow, Jimmy.
Yeah, absolutely. The very, very fast speeds for a boat where you're just half a metre or 1 metre off the water, you're on trapeze, and there's so high risk. It's definitely on the edge of your seat.
Well, it's been some party-like atmosphere. There's been a bit of Aussie magic from our Aussie crews today, Tech 2, and also from our Kiwi crew. I think they'll be dancing the night away for sure, and with the Ben Lexcen Trophy on the line, I'd imagine we'd see some Kiwi moves potentially for Phil Robertson as well. He'll be loving today. He'll be talking about it for a while to come, and he might be pint-sized, but he packs a mighty punch, Phil.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a bit of an odd team, the Kiwi, the Aussie and the Scotsman, but they're really bringing it together now, and they're just standing up at the right time, and if they can take this into tomorrow, then we might see a really amazing result.
Gosh, it's one to get the chalkboard out over, isn't it, and the pieces of paper, and work out just who needs what to try and finish with this trophy. It is so wide open, and we've got the best vantage point. We're on Shark Island there, Jimmy, just to the starboard side of Record Point, and look, I've seen some dance moves before that are a little better than that, but it's all about the smiles after all anyway. What a good place to have a bit of a boogie, watch the world's best go by, and certainly a different setup on board the SuperFoilers to what we see there. Certainly not as stable, and Connor will be able to vouch for that.
Yeah, Connor will definitely be out of vouch for that, and that's what it's all about, just getting out in the water, out in the harbour, and that's what's so amazing, is it's so engrossed in the middle of the city here, and so many spots to watch this racing from.
Yeah, it's such a unique thing, isn't it, having a battle like this in one of the most famous harbours in the world, and there'll be some tall tales today from those out enjoying it. I mean, Record Point, it's a day to savour. Pavement, a day probably for them as they start rethinking it, to think, look, what can we do better? Dan Morris, Reece Mara, two incredible sailors in their own right on board. They will be definitely wanting to perform more. They've probably got the most time on the SuperFoilers. Reece Mara and Steve were instrumental in testing this machine, and they'll feel like today was an opportunity miss for them.
Yeah, absolutely. They were a little off the pace today, and they'll go back to the drawing board tonight, but I'm sure they've really got their finger on the pulse. They'll know what they have to achieve tomorrow. I know that they're not going to be wondering what went wrong today. They're going to know what they need to improve, and I'm sure they'll be able to execute that tomorrow when they come out for racing again.
Steve Thomas, who's just taken a knee there, was actually telling me this morning, he was poring over his DEXA body scan, and he said, mate, I've lost 1% of my body fat. I'm at the peak of my powers at the moment. And I, of course, had to agree with him, Jimmy. I wasn't going to disagree with him. But he's certainly in athlete mode at the moment, and he's tapered at the right time for the final. And this is where the race is going to be won on Sunday. And these guys are still in contention.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll be having a tough time trying to keep up with Reece and Dan on the front of his boat. They're extremely fit guys. And, this is just such a high-performance boat, and you have to be at the top of your fitness game to be able to compete here. You have to be really lean, on the right weight, really good upper body strength, and completely stable through your middle. So such tough skill to be able to trapeze whilst foiling, whilst sailing. It's so many skills coming together.
So look at this from Record Point. They're really maximising the time there for their sponsors. I believe Record Point, a boutique investment company here in Australia and here in Sydney, headquartered in Sydney, and they'll be loving such a good showing from their team at home. And that storm looks sinister. So too does the antics, no doubt, going on the SuperFoiler VIP vessel there. Probably a dry spot for them, a great place to take in the action, and no doubt the bubbles will still be poured for a while to come. Thankfully, with that storm rolling in, there are more than a few places to stay dry on there.
Yeah, absolutely. That storm's going to throw a little bit of a curveball, and you can see the teams trying to get all the gear down and get the boats back into Woollahra Sailing Club, back onto the dock, because you don't want to be out there when there's a southerly coming on Sydney Harbour.
No, you absolutely don't. But what an iconic backdrop. We can see the Sydney Harbour ferry, instantly recognisable for its jaunts down to Manly from Circular Quay, the beautiful bridge, which is the anchor, the coat hanger for all the fireworks that fire up there on New Year's Day, and, well, the John Idson designed Opera House. It is absolutely iconic. Jimmy, we've got a thrilling day in store for tomorrow with how all the points will play out for the race here at the Express SuperFoiler Grand Final.
Absolutely. We're so lucky to be at this point of the season with such a tight race. It's really anyone's game, and with a big breeze that's forecast tomorrow, anything can happen. We could see capsizes and crashes, and it's never going to be over until it's over. So you really got to keep your head on straight for this next day, and one more big push, and then it's all done.
Jimmy, I don't want to rush you along, but I do have some clothes on the line at the moment, so we do have to go. We've got to get there and try and get it off before this storm breaks. On behalf of all of us here at the SuperFoiler team, we hope you've enjoyed the first leg of the Express SuperFoiler Grand Prix televised coverage. Tomorrow's grand final day. Who will win the Ben Lexcen Trophy? On behalf of Jimmy, Jack and myself, thanks for your company. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. It's going to be on.